Well, for the fourth time this week and the second time today, we bid you good evening from McNeese Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium in beautiful downtown Atlanta, Georgia, on the campus of Georgia Tech University. It's time for the second elimination contest of the day for Bethune-Cookman as they have made it to the pool final here in Pool B at the SWAC Baseball Championships. They face the number one seed from the Western Conference, the Grambling State Tigers, coming in at 29-24, 22-7 in conference play. Bethune-Cookman, 31-26, finally got over that 30-win mark yesterday, 20-9 in conference play for them. My name is Michael Travello. Happy once again to have your company. Bryce Hoynowski is alongside me. And as we begin the broadcast, Bryce, I want to go into something that head coach Jonathan Hernandez told us to tell you in our meeting with him before this game. He said, "We have nothing to lose. We are playing with house money," unquote.
Yeah, Mike, it was a great conversation with Coach Johnny between games here, and the bottom line, no matter what happens here, for the second straight year, the Wildcats are one of the last four teams standing in the SWAC. We've seen some thrilling games. We've seen the Wildcats win games in a bunch of different ways. We've seen success from the Wildcats that we haven't normally seen. But the biggest thing that Coach Johnny told us is that people here at the ballpark, whether it's media, whether it's fans, whether it's this SWAC audience that's not familiar with this team, with this program, with this university even to a certain extent, they're seeing what this team is capable of. Maybe what's been kind of the flagship program for the university, for the athletic department for the last couple of years. They've enjoyed some serious success outside of that pandemic stoppage for the year that some of these other programs just haven't matched. The reality for Coach Hernandez, for the Wildcats, for Wildcat Nation, is eyes are starting to open. This team is being taken seriously, and this athletic department is being taken seriously. The Wildcats, like you said, Mike, are playing with house money.
Let's set the stage. The Wildcats, for the first time in the tournament, are the visiting team as the 2 seed out of the East facing the 1 seed out of the West. If they win today, I called this the pool final. It really isn't. If they win today, they would force a winner-take-all game tomorrow night against Grambling again, and that team that wins that game would go to the championship game. On the other side of the bracket, Florida A&M survived a wild one, 8-6 in the game just before this, so they forced a replay with Alabama State tomorrow. Will there be 2 replays tomorrow? We shall find out.
We certainly hope so, Mike. And if anything, FAMU should give you a little bit of hope that it's certainly doable. They've been through a grind of a tournament themselves, and they pulled it out. And the Wildcats, they've certainly got the guns in this lineup to show that they can do it.
Here we go. Luis Tuero leading off for the Wildcats in the black uniforms, gray pants, script Wildcats in maroon trimmed in whites. The first pitch from the right-hander, Kerry Boykins, is low, and it's 1-0. Boykins, big stocky right-hander, pitches out of the stretch only. No windup for him. Finds the outside corner with pitch number 2, and it's 1-1. Boykins is 4-2, 9 appearances with 8 starts. Is the third starting role for Grambling has kind of been as Tuero hits this one high into right field. Moving over Hatton, he makes the catch, 2 steps from the track, 1 away.
Some hard contact to start off the game for Luis Tuero and the Wildcats, and we've kind of said it all week, and it's kind of apparent in any baseball game these days. When you start to see that hard contact early, we'll see if it continues here for the Wildcats. It's only a matter of time before it pays off.
The rest of Boykins' numbers are as follows. Garrett Chun steps into the box. He's got a 5.49 ERA. He's allowed 30 runs on 51 hits, striking out 29, walking 18. And, of course, he has significantly less innings pitched than the other 2 primary starters. Chun hits this one to center, coming on Burrell. He makes the catch, 2 away.
Well, more hard contact. Again, we want to avoid quick innings. It's kind of been the one soft spot for the Wildcats thus far in this tournament. They've still seen a handful of really quick ones. But when you're hitting the ball like that, eventually it's going to drop.
And again, we were looking at the Grambling State reliever numbers. And, of course, they've played 1 fewer game than we have. So they're probably more ready to go to a long game, to a bullpen game, than the Wildcats are as Highland Hall stands in. But you never know, right? We get to the bullpen, anything can happen. Hall, first pitch outside of the righty, and it's a 1-0. Of course, the top 2 starters, Lorenzo Peterson and Connor Rudy, both over 80 innings pitched on the year, went on Wednesday and Thursday. Hall chops this one foul outside of third, 1-1.
Tournament play kind of turns into junk ball, and that's how the Wildcats are going to want to have it in this game. They want to try to play the scrappy game that they've played in the last two we've seen.
12-11 in walk-off fashion against Jackson State last night. And then earlier today, came back and won 10-6 against Southern. The pitch to Hall, right down the middle, strike two. That's a tough one for Highland Hall not to offer at.
Been pretty swing happy so far in this tournament.
The 1-2. Hall watches one low, 2-2.
That was really close to the same pitch right there to Hall.
Highland batting .365 on the season. 5 homers, 49 RBIs, and he smacks this one base hit down the left field line. Hall thinks about stretching it at 2, but holds up at first as Borum fires in. The Wildcats have a base runner with one away.
We saw it again in the FAMU-Alabama State game just before this, and then, of course, in our game earlier this afternoon. Anytime there's hard contact in this ballpark, the way all of these teams have kind of been swinging the bat, there's kind of a wince every time, a little bit of a cringe. And the way the Wildcats, that's 3 really hard contact off the bats of the Wildcats. Boykins may not be in for a long start unless he can turn that down.
Again, you want to get that flatter arc, first pitch outside to Boris Pena, on that ball off the bat like Highland Hall just did. The first two from Twitter and Sean were more pop-ups than anything, just long pop-ups. There is no wind at all happening right now. The flag in left center field hanging limp. Pitch to Pena, fouls it back. 1-1. The weather, as it has been all week here in Atlanta, is absolutely picture perfect. Not a cloud in the sky as it hangs bright blue behind the backdrop of the beautiful grove of trees and downtown Atlanta skyline in the back of Rush Chandler Stadium. Here's a 1-1. Pena doesn't offer at the inside curveball, 2-1. 79 degrees. Going to go down maybe into the high 60s as the sun goes down. It's going to be cool tomorrow. Temperatures in the 50s. And, of course, if the Wildcats don't win tonight, it doesn't matter what temperature it is in Atlanta because we'll be back home. Check over to Hall on first. He's back without a slide.
Tell you from talking to Coach Johnny and a handful of players, these are a group of guys that doesn't want to go home. We've seen some big-time resilience from that squad after that Game 1 loss, something I really don't think that I expected to see, but credit to them.
We've seen guys step up in different situations as another one is fouled away. The count holds 2-2. Really, the epitome of that was Yoancel Diaz in the last game. Gave us 3 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits from a guy that's ERA was .870.
Coach Johnny said it to us in between games in the post-game interview. That's the kind of performances you have to have if you're going to win a tournament. That's guys that don't show that in the regular season, but they give you something. The Wildcats don't win that game without Diaz.
Ball in the dirt. Hall stays at first as Murphy behind the plate corrals it. In the field for Grambling State, Borum, Burrell, Hatton left to right across the outfield. Vargas, Gouchard, and Walker and Buford on the infield. The battery, Boykins the pitcher, Murphy the catcher. Count still 3-2 against Boris Pena. 1 on, 2 out. Boykins delivers. Off the end of the bat, foul to the right-hand side.
He's kind of got that heater that kind of comes over the top of the plate just with the way his release and his windup works. A lot of them finding the bottom of the zone. Can see a few of those getting golfed out into the outfield later on as this game progresses.
It'll be Luis Liprat on the mound for the Wildcats. Chopped toward the left-hand side, diving off the glove of Vargas, and everybody's safe.
This offense right now for the Wildcats is just so important. We know how thin that bullpen's going to be. The sooner you can put stuff on, Coach Hernandez harped on that a little bit between games as well, scoring early, giving that confidence boost so that maybe the Wildcats don't drift into that lull we've seen them kind of fall into in the middle innings.
We've seen it pretty much every game in this tournament. Of course, the last 2 games have been able to fight back and 2 late-inning rallies to win some games against some really stretched bullpens for Jackson State and Southern. But again, the Wildcats are going to be in that position as well. They've only got a couple arms left. Maybe you start getting some guys back that pitched on Wednesday. But we know Yoel Gonzalez is not available. First pitch to Robert Moya down and away. There's now 2 on, 2 out here in the top of the first. Moya batting a ridiculous, what was it, 720 for the tournament?
Robert Moya is at 364 so far. It's Irvin Escobar.
Oh, Irvin Escobar. Strike at the knees, 1-1.
Sure, we'll get to him and sing his praises when he shows up a little later on in this game. He's been unbelievable.
But Moya this afternoon, 2 runs scored, 2 doubles, 2 walks. Terrific performance against Southern.
That's his game.
The 1-1. Breaking ball, strike 2.
And that right there, that was a breaking ball that didn't break a whole lot. Kind of just sat down right smack dab in the middle of the plate.
Moya got crossed up because he thought it was going to break more and miss the zone. It ended up just being right over the heart of the plate. 1-2 now. Boykin comes set. Lines and fires. Moya hits this one high in the air to left field. That is foul. Had home run distance. That hit off the side of the football complex building behind the left field foul pole. That went 400-plus feet, but it was foul.
Talk about hand speed right there. To be able to get in on a fastball on the inside on his hands like that, turn on that, and get that kind of distance. Not a lot of batters in this league can do that.
All it is just a reset. 1-2 again. Boykin deals. Breaking ball hit high in the air, not deep to right. Actually, the second baseman, Walker, going to come over and make the catch. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the first. Wildcats nothing. Grambling coming to bat right here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the first, scoreless between Bethune-Cookman and Grambling State. The Tigers out of the winner's bracket, the Wildcats out of the loser's bracket here in the nightcap on day number 3 here at the SWAC tournament. Tiger Borum leads off, batting .291, 54 runs on 46 hits, 6 homers, 31 RBIs. Luis Lipthrath lines and fires his first pitch, low ball 1. And Luis Lipthrath is a guy that we thought we would see in a situation like this. Last year's Friday starter mowing people down. This year he's just not had it, been dropped from the rotation completely. Ball low, 2-0.
This is your preseason SWAC first team
Pitcher of the year.
Beat out his own teammate, Nolan Santos, which is a feat in itself.
I mean, hindsight 2020, you know what you're thinking, putting Santos behind Lipthrath, but swinging a foul back from Borum. Yeah, and last year, and if he continued on the trajectory that, you know, if you thinking about you're improving every year or even just staying the same, the Wildcats would have had one of the best rotations of the SWAC. They arguably do already without him. But Borum hits it high in the air, foul, left side, 2-2. But even so, Luis in a big spot tonight. He can wipe away an entire season of disappointment with a good performance here.
We know he has it in him. He was as lights out as they come, as cool and calm as they come. He was good in the tournament last year. He faced Grambling. It's there.
The 2-2 to Borum. Swung on, hit in the air to center. That is a laced ball, but Sean stands under it, makes the catch, one away.
And if Lipthrat's going to succeed tonight, he's going to have to do it on the back of his defense. He wasn't a big strikeout pitcher necessarily last year, but he's got the defense behind him to make plays like that, to track down balls like that. Don't try to do too much. We've seen it a little bit here and there from different pitching staffs, even outside of the Wildcats. Let your defense go to work and settle in.
Lipthrat, a 10.07 ERA, 2-4 in 14 appearances with 9 starts. Here is Kyle Walker. First pitch to him, straight down the middle for strike one. In 42 innings pitched, he's given up 53 runs on 66 hits, 35 strikeouts, 16 walks. Batters batting .359 against him, though, is the big crooked number as well as the ERA. Breaking ball, misses inside, 1-1.
Of course, Lipthrat, like Gamboa earlier today, has faced some big-time programs. South Carolina, Florida, USF, Miami, UCF. When you're relegated to that midweek role, you get some big-time bats against you.
Fastball misses outside, 2-1 to Kyle Walker. Walker batting .371. He's the best hitter on the team. 48 runs on 56 hits, 2 homers, 28 RBIs. Not a lot of power, but a lot of accuracy in that bat. Just outside, 3-1 now. Umpiring crew tonight behind the plate, Kevin Bradley. At first base, Peter Graham. At second base, Brandon Folks, who is behind the plate for the Wildcats game this afternoon. And Brian Clark is at third. The 3-1. Swing and a miss at a fastball, and it's 3-2.
The best we've seen from Lipthrat this year was actually at Alabama State. Started and got a win, pitched 6 innings. Allowed just 2 runs, 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 3.
That was before he kind of fell off a cliff in the middle of the season. That was still back early on when he was still in that weekend rotation. Ball 4 just missed it low. Escobar tried to frame it, but no dice, and the first runner is aboard with 1 down for Grambling State. That'll bring up Trevor Hatton. Hatton, a .305 hitter, 52 runs on 67 hits, 12 homers, 71 RBIs. The middle of this order mashes the ball. Hatton, 12 home runs. Mack, 15. Bufford, 12. Next closest person on the team has 3.
Middle of the order in these SWAC lineups, pretty good.
Check over to first. In the defensive alignment for Bethune-Cookman, it's Pena, Chun, and Hall in the outfield left to right. Tuero, Garcia, Olison, and Sufrain on the infield left to right. Escobar, the catcher for Lipthrat. After the check over to first, the first delivery to Hatton will have to wait as they check over there again. Walker, 23 steals on 24 attempts, rather. This is a team that loves to steal.
A lot of these SWAC schools do, especially out in the West.
Chop foul, first pitch to Hatton. And last season when Lipthrat was dominating everybody, he had a lot of pace. He's not a guy that will think about every pitch. He's a momentum pitcher. Right now, he is thinking about every pitch. Very slow, very deliberate.
A lot of attention paid to that runner on first. We've seen that across this Wildcat staff all year.
The 0-1. Breaking ball, big cut and miss from Hatton, 0-2.
Lipthrat is generating some big-time swing and misses on some of his stuff. Haven't seen a lot of that this year. Seen a lot of guys kind of tee off on him. If he can get those off-speed pitches going to complement his fastball, find his spots, who knows?
Escobar sets up outside the 0-2. Big cut and miss on a garbage pitch in the opposite batter's box. And there are 2 away.
Sometimes you get bailed out on a call, sometimes right there. I think you just kind of set him up for that outside pitch. He's probably offering all the way, committed to it before the pitch was thrown, and waves at it.
And we've seen a lot of that from the Wildcats staff. They like to set up inside, outside with the strike 3 pitch. And a lot of times we've seen teams lay off of it. Not so there. Here's Keelan Mack, the designated hitter. First lefty we've seen for Grambling. Runner on 2 outs. First pitch comes inside, forces Mack to jump away to avoid getting hit. Keelan batting .360, that's the second best average on the team. 46 runs on 63 hits, 15 home runs, and 57 RBIs, slugging at 726. Second pitch to him is popped high in the air, foul left field line. That'll make the seats. I say make the seats as it goes over the Champions Hall building where the hospitality suite is and almost to the road. That carried a long way. Count is 1-1. Lipthrat from the stretch, he deals. Outside and low, 2-1. Missed with the fastball that time. Kyle Walker leading off of first with 2 down. He walked earlier in the inning. Pitch hit high in the air to left field. That is gone. That is way gone. Over the trees and onto the road. Home run number 16 on the season for Keelan Mack gives the Grambling State Tigers a 2-0 lead.
Well, we know the Wildcats are no strangers to being down early in these ball games. That's really the first bit of solid contact we've seen from a Tiger in this inning. It just goes a long, long way.
And I thought one of the home runs in the FAMU game we watched earlier was the longest home run. That is definitely the longest home run we've seen this week. That was a bomb. Over the trees in right field.
Well, they're going to need Lipthrat to put it behind him pretty quickly because no matter what happens, they're going to need some serious length out of their starter if they're going to stay alive here.
Here's Cameron Bufford. The third of the 3 Mash brothers for this Grambling State team. First pitch inside on the hands for a strike. Bufford, 327 the average. This is his 200 at-bat of the season. 45 runs on 65 hits, 12 homers, 67 RBIs. Big cut and miss on a slider, and he's down 0-2. I think the off-speed stuff, the sliders, the changeups, are really what's going to be Lipthrat's bread and butter tonight. I don't think he's going to blow anybody away with his fastball. 0-2. Tried to set up outside and get a swing like he did with Hatton. No dice, 1-2. Grambling leads 2-0 after the home run by Keelan Mack. Lipthrat winds and deals. Bounce to the plate, 2-2. We are going to tell really quickly how much that home run affects Lipthrat.
Started off this at-bat pretty well. Really could use a big swing and a miss right here.
The 2-2. Down low, 3-2. Missed with 3 straight pitches after getting ahead in the count, 0-2.
It's kind of the strategy we've seen from the pitching staff all week here. When they get up in these counts, they're starting to nibble a little bit, trying to get those swing and miss.
Lipthrat fires, ground ball to Olison at second. Fields 2 steps and fires over to Suffrain. 2 runs, 1 hit, no one left. And we go to the second inning of play. 2-0 Grambling here on the Cat Eye Network. To the top of the second we go. Wildcats down 2-0 after the Keelan Mack homer in the first from Grambling State. Manny Suffrain leads off the inning for the Wildcats. Grambling State tonight in black hats, yellow jerseys, black numbers with white trim and black pants with a yellow stripe down the side. Reminds me almost of the 80s Pirates look. First pitch to Sufrain, low ball 1.
The message here for Wildcats offense from Jose Carballo, the hitting coach, is going to be very similar to the same thing we've seen all week.
Sufrain chops one off of his foot, foul, and he is down in the batter's box in some obvious discomfort. That did not sound good. Coach Hernandez coming out, the athletic trainer's coming out to look at him. He went the way he went down immediately. Probably off a shin bone, maybe, or an ankle, where you got no protection down there.
Be a big loss for the Wildcats. They'd have to move Robert Moya, potentially Boris Pena over to first. Two guys at least who have spent some time over there. We even saw Irvin Escobar over there at one point for a brief stint this season.
Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Manny Sufrain is trying to walk it off. He's waved off the athletic trainer. Coach Hernandez taps him on the helmet and says, "Go get him." And the count will be 1-1 when Sufrain eventually does walk back into the batter's box. We thank you for joining us for this fourth game the Wildcats have played here in the last 3 days. It's always a busy time here at these SWAC tournaments. We are ready to go again. Sufrain, the lefty, stands back in facing the righty, Kerry Boykins. And Boykins rocks and fires. Sufrain, big cut and miss on a slider away. And it's 1-2. Quickly into the windup, outside, 2-2.
Second command starts to waver for any of these Grambling State starters. That's when the Wildcats have to take advantage and just work deep into counts, work some walks.
The 2-2, 3-2 now as a breaking ball broke a little too early and missed the zone low. The Grambling State fans in attendance thought that was strike 3.
Some good patience from Sufrain.
Full count delivery. Fouled away, will do it again.
It was a good pitch to hit along the outer middle of the plate. Sufrain just got a bit under it and got back to the backstop.
You can kind of tell that Sufrain is laboring on that front foot a little bit. Here's the 3-2 again. Sufrain hits this one high and deep to center. Going back, Burrell to the track, to the wall. It's off the wall. Sufrain digging for second. Here comes the throw. It's a stand-up, lead-off double for Manny Sufrain. And if that ball is hit anywhere other than dead center field, that's a goner.
I'm surprised Burrell didn't track it down, got under it because that ball was hit just so high, but came over inches over his head, didn't quite see where it was, kind of kicked off right at the intersection of the wall and the turf or the warning track down there. Sufrain into second.
Here is now my pick for player of the tournament so far, Irvin Escobar.
Certainly not a controversial pick by any means there. The guy's 5 for 7, Mike.
Probably 5 RBIs, more than that because he's had 2 RBI singles.
Got 5 RBI and a double.
Breaking ball misses outside, first pitch to him from Boykin. Escobar on the season, a .321 hitter, 22 runs on 36 hits, 3 homers, 29 RBIs. It's wild that 5 of those RBIs have come this week. The 1-0, hit down the left field line, foul into the Grambling State dugout, 1-1. Because he's been a guy, Escobar, that hasn't really been a hot bat. He's been in there for his defensive catching. He has also shared time with George Braceras behind the plate. Braceras, you'd think maybe be the better offensive guy, but not this week. It's been all 22. The 1-1, breaking ball misses inside, 2-1.
Just everything off the bats of these Wildcats. Just, you can hear it ring all throughout the stadium. They are smacking the ball. It's just either going foul or it's going right at guys. This one's going to turn eventually.
It's something we haven't really done. Even though we've won the last 2 games, it's been a lot of soft singles. This one is popped sky high to left field. Walking in his Borum makes the catch, 1 away.
Escobar got a bit under that one, but that's just another pitch. A little dangerous over the middle of the plate. Wildcats maybe just getting a little too anxious, jumping on stuff. Flying out there.
Kerry Boykins all the way up to 32 pitches already here in the second inning. He's only pitched an inning and a third.
It's kind of junk ball. The Wildcats have to get this to you. Have to bring them down to your level and play scrappy and get deep into the pen. And ultimately, this is going to end as a high-scoring affair.
That's what we saw FAMU do in the last game against Alabama State. Put 7 runs on him in the 8th inning. Here's Colton Olison. Breaking ball catches the outside part of the plate to the righty, strike one.
Olison struggled this week, just 1 for 10.
He's had a couple of sacrifice bunts as well. Be a good time to break out of the funk. Another slider misses below the zone. 1-1. On the season, Olison an even .300 average. 18 runs on 36 hits, 1 homer, 20 RBIs. As Boykin from the stretch misses outside again. 2-1. I want to talk about that 1 home run from Colton Olison because it may be one of the farthest hit balls we've seen all year from a guy that maybe is about my height, 5'7", and he just crushed one.
Just casually flicked it out off of the old school scoreboard out there in deep left center field at the jack.
The 2-1 in the dirt, 3-1. But of all the guys to get a mammoth home run, Colton maybe not the one you'd pick.
Well, I guess when you see a meatball like he did, maybe my grandmother could have hit that one out. But no, it was that kind of power, that kind of pop coming from that kind of build. It's crazy.
Colton also the kind of emotional heart and soul of this team, and also probably the best defensive player. The 3-1. Strike just clipped the bottom portion of the zone at the knees. Olison looks to the umpire, says, where did that go? And he said at the knees, and it's okay. 3-2. Dufresne on after his leadoff double with 1 away. Here's the payoff pitch from Boykin. Ball 4. No, strike 3! Colton Olison was halfway to first before Kevin Bradley rung him up. And Coach Hernandez is already barking at the home plate umpire. I'm sorry. I'm usually neutral. That was awful. That was way off the plate and low.
That was in the opposing batter's box. They're going to want that one back. Official still coming over to chat with the Wildcats dugout. He may give them a warning here, but that is unacceptable.
That, I can't believe it. Olison couldn't believe it. He was already to the double line where the coach's box was. 5 seconds after the pitch, he got rung up. I can't understand that. There are 2 outs. Here's Jeremy Garcia.
Of course, Olison there wasn't the guy chirping the home plate official. Coach Hernandez took the job there. It's good by Olison to kind of maintain that composure. As frustrating as it is, it's going to be your head coach's job to argue that.
Now Dufresne on second with 2 outs. He's not really a guy that can score on a single from second. Garcia swings and misses at a changeup inside. 0-1. Garcia 269 on the year, 29 runs on 49 hits, 1 homer, 30 RBIs.
6 for 12 this week, though.
Even 500. He's been good. The 0-1 in the dirt. He's even kind of gotten rid of his penchant for leaving a bunch of guys on base at the end of innings. He's had 2 RBI singles in the past 2 games.
He's trying to have the bases loaded with a strikeout earlier this afternoon, but redeemed himself with a couple of RBI.
The 1-1. Breaking ball right down the middle. 1-2.
There's just not a whole lot on that breaking ball.
Yeah, that slow, hanging curveball. Somebody in black and maroon is going to take that for a ride at some point. Garcia maybe not the guy to do that. The 1-2. Fastball up the middle. Snagged by Gouchard at short. Throws across the diamond in time. And the Wildcats were robbed of a run potentially there. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the second, 2-0 Grambling State here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the second here at McNeese Baseball Park and Rush Chandler Stadium on the campus of Georgia Tech. 2-0 Grambling State. Jose Vargas, the third baseman, leads off for the Tigers. Vargas, a .288 hitter, 29 runs on 45 hits, 1 homer, 31 RBIs. Only slugging .327. Luis Lipthrat still on the mound for Bethune-Cookman. Aside from that one pitch that ended up being the home run, he was pretty solid in that first inning.
Long way to go.
First pitch was a strike on the outside of the knees. Lipthrat's 0-1. Outside, 1-1.
Saying over the break, Mike, this series, this tournament is not all the kind of feels of an NBA game where it doesn't really matter till the fourth quarter. We saw it again in the game before this. FAMU 5-run lead, gives up 3 in the ninth.
Golfed into right field. Hall coming on, makes a diving catch. Oh, Highland Hall uses all of his athleticism and gets out number 1.
I think maybe the most impressive part of that catch is how he managed to squeeze the glove together and kind of maintain the hold of that ball once he dove and eventually crashed into the ground. That's the athleticism of this Wildcats outfield.
Here is Keanu Jacobs Guichard, who I will be referring to as Guichard when he's in the field. First pitch from Lipthrat, strike inside corner. Guichard is a sophomore, heading .330 on the season, 27 runs on 35 hits, 2 homers, 19 RBIs. He struck out 32 times this season. Pitch low, 1-1. Quickly looking at the numbers on this sheet here, Highland Hall has been hit by 13 pitches this year. Strike, inside corner 1 and 2.
Some guys are just a magnet for it. You see it in the major leagues every now and then. There was a player, we'll think of the name in a few innings when it doesn't matter anymore.
Barry Bonds?
With the Rays and with the Indians a few years ago that was just a magnet for that stuff.
Outside and low in the dirt, 2 and 2. And Lipthrat's been getting ahead in counts and then not closing the door. Throwing some bad balls, trying to get chases. He's let hitters back in. Here's the 2-2. Ball just low, 3 and 2. Lipthrat's payoff. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got him with a fastball upstairs. 2 outs in the inning.
And again, that's just more of what we haven't seen from Lipthrat this year. These big swings and misses. The off speed is setting up the fastball and vice versa. Pitching well. His sequences have been good. Had these Tigers kind of in fits early.
Here is Julian Murphy. First pitch to him, right back to Lipthrat. He has it in his glove, underhands it to Soufrain. 1-2-3. Go the Wildcats. I want to keep it here for just a second to talk about that, because that's a little bit of luck on Luis's side. That ball went right in his glove. He had no idea.
All skill, Mike. All skill.
We go to the top of the third, 2-0 Grambling State. Wildcats looking for an answer right here on the Cat Eye Network. Top of the order coming up for Bethune-Cookman here in the top of the third. They trail the Grambling State Tigers 2-0, but not for lack of trying. They've had 3 hits so far. They've been hitting the ball hard. They've been seeing the ball well out of Kerry Boykin's hand, and maybe they can get something together second time through the order. And again, outside of one pitch that Luis Lipgat left over the zone that was left the yard for a 2-run homer, the Wildcats have looked good through the first couple of innings. First pitch to Tuero, low ball 1. And they've been doing something this game that they haven't done for a while, pretty much all season. They have worked deep in counts. Boykin, this is his 43rd pitch already. And it's low, ball 2. There was somebody in the Grambling State bullpen poking around doing some resistance bands work. He has since sat down. The 2-0. Tuero golfs it high into left field, not deep. Moving over, Borum makes the catch. 1 away.
I think if these Wildcats are able to get into those hitters' counts, work a couple of balls early, you're going to force Boykins to have to put it over the plate. And if he tries to throw one of those breaking balls, especially if he tries to get it up over the zone, it's going to break over the plate and it's going to go a mile.
I think that was just a little bit too over-aggressive by Tuero. He's up in the count 2-0 with 2 bad misses before that. Let him work. Here's Garrett Chun. Breaking ball catches the inside corner of the lefty Chun. Garrett, fly to center his first time up. He's a .303 hitter on the season, 49 runs on 57 hits. Here's the pitch. Outside, 1-1. 16 doubles, 1 triple, no homers, 17 RBIs for Garrett Chun. He's been walked 36 times, which is the second most in the lineup. Inside, ball 2, 2-1. Robert Moya has been walked the most times on the team with 37. I didn't think it was that close.
I didn't either until you mention it. That's why Chun's good at setting up that middle of the order.
The 2-1, low 3-1. You may see another one here with Highland Hall, who probably had the best solid contact outside of Manny Sufrain so far today on deck. The 3-1 from Boykins. Strike at the knees, 3-2. Another, they're full count. This seems like there's been a ton of full counts in this ball game. The 3-2, hit high in the air to center field, not deep. Burrell stands under it, makes the catch, and another fly ball out.
More fly balls.
5 fly ball outs for the Wildcats in the first 3 innings.
Most of them just a handful of feet from the warning track. Keep saying it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. One of these is going to drop. One of these is going to go over the wall. We'll see.
So Chun's flied to center twice. Luero has flied once to right and once to left. And Escobar flied out to left. First pitch to Highland Hall, in on the hands. Ball 1. Oh no, he fouled it into the glove. And it's strike 1. A little bit unlucky there for Highland. The 0-1, big cut and miss on a ball in the dirt. 0-2. You can tell Hall really wants one. He's the only Wildcats a homer in this tournament, back against Jackson State. 0-2, upstairs 1-2. And now Highland Hall just turned around and said something to the umpire. Or maybe the catcher. 1-2, hit off the end of the bat into right field. That will drop into the glove. Hatton, to be fair, made a really nice play. Came over, made the catch. 1, 2, 3, go the Cats. We go to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Grambling State here on the Cat Eye Network. Bottom three we go. 9-hole hitter Terry Burrell, the center fielder, leads off for Grambling State. They have a 2-0 lead over the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Luis Lipthrat still on the mound for BCU. And the righty winds and deals upstairs and in. And it's 1-0. Burrell, 242 hitter, 47 runs on 43 hits, 1 homer, 31 RBIs. Second pitch, just barely low. They're going to check to see if he swung. He did not. 2-0. Lipthrat kind of uncharacteristically this season, as a pitch is high, 3-0, has thrown 7 wild pitches in only 42 innings. It's a 1 wild pitch a game. Pitch. There's a strike. And it's 3-1. Apologies if the voice is a little scratchy. There's been a lot of baseball to be called over the past 3 days. Fouled away, 3-2. Another full count. Feels like we've seen most of the at-bats go this way. Lipthrat's payoff. Foul back to the screen, and we'll do it one more time.
Lipthrat's doing a good job continuing to kind of miss bats. Even there, just barely got a piece of that one.
Lipthrat looking for his 3rd strikeout. He fires. It's hit on the ground towards second. Into the chest of Olesen. Fires across, 1 away.
Colton Olsen is a guy who, kind of contrary, I feel like, to most baseball players, I think his defense kind of drives his offense. He's able to kind of pick it up, keep the momentum going, keep locked in at the plate when his defense is really firing. So that's why when we saw some struggles early on in this tournament, the bat didn't follow. Hopefully he can kind of continue to stay consistent, and it'll pay off at the plate.
Top of the order for Grambling State. Here's Tyler Borum. First pitch, a strike at the knees. 0-1. Borum flied out to center field to begin the ball game. Both of these teams are going to give you good defense. Fastball high, 1-1. It all depends on if you can hit those alleys, hit those corners, and start stringing hits together. As we saw in the previous game, the 1-1. Breaking ball misses outside, 2-1. The Wildcats were the most successful when they just hit base hit, base hit, base hit. It wasn't anything extravagant or flashy. It was just in the alley, over the third baseman's head, out just past the diving glove of the first baseman. Hit high in the air to left field, not deep. Pena calls off Garcia and makes the catch, 2 down.
I think already it's just been really encouraging. This start for Lipthrat is, I think, already maybe better than what Coach Hernandez or us up in the booth may have expected from him. Just really the one mistake pitch.
But, again, the Wildcats offense has been late bloomers in this tournament. At some point, you might run out of that. We'll see. Foul back, first pitch to Kyle Walker. He walked and scored on the homer from Keelan Mack his first time up. There are 2 away in the 3rd. The sun setting to the left-hand side of our broadcast position behind home plate. As a swing and a chop foul off the foot of Walker. The count is 0-2. And this is the first night game that the Wildcats have played this tournament. It's all been noon games up until now. Do you think that affects the mentality of anybody, or it's just business as usual?
Well, Coach Hernandez, when we talked to him between games, the word he used was finally. I don't know what necessarily that means, if he just wants to see his Cats under the lights, maybe outside of the heat, or what.
Well, I think it's because the upper bracket games are all played at night and he wanted to be there.
Well, it's either that or those 9 a.m. games. And speaking for myself personally, I prefer to stay away from those.
That's why it was important we got the 2 seed. Missed completely, did Lipthrat there. 2-1. Escobar set up outside to the right-hand hitting Walker, and the pitch was almost by the umpire's face. The 1-2. That time he hit it perfectly. Swing and a miss from Kyle Walker on a pitch outside in the opposite batter's box. And Lipthrat has set down 6 straight Tigers. 1, 2, 3 go Grambling. We go to the 4th. 2-0 Tigers over the Wildcats here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the 4th. This game moving right along, just under an hour into it. 7:51 Eastern Standard Time here in Atlanta. Boris Pena leads off. First pitch from Kerry Boykins, outside and low, ball 1. Boykins has this really molasses slow delivery, kind of tricks hitters about what speed the ball is coming in at. This is in the exact same spot, low and away, 2-0. Nobody really in this conference is a fireballer. I mean, you can look at guys like Santos who touch the low 90s, maybe Pablo Torres. Here's the pitch, outside and low again. He's at the exact same spot, outside and low, 3 straight pitches. And I think the catcher is going to call for time. No, I just wanted a new ball. Wildcats looking for some offense, down 2-0. The 3-0 pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. Pena takes all the way.
Something about that lofty breaking ball. You know guys are going back in the dugout licking their lips, telling the guy behind them, that's a pitch to crush.
The 3-1. It's a fastball hit high in the air to center field. Going back, Burrell. He's at the track. He makes the catch 2 steps from the wall.
Just got ever so slightly under that ball.
4 straight flyouts for the Wildcats. 6-7 in the game already.
That's the kind of performance you would want out of, there's fly ball relievers that kind of go to that sort of thing, but if you're depending on this guy for any kind of length in this game, I know I keep saying it, I know it doesn't keep happening, but sooner or later, something's gonna snap.
Here's Robert Moya, popped out to the second baseman his first time up. First pitch from Boykin is a hack and miss from Moya. He almost falls over. He has to fix his helmet that almost came off after that swing. He wanted it so much. But we've seen Moya be more successful when he chokes up, just puts it in play. Skip to the plate, 1-1.
I kind of parallel it with the NHL playoffs, and a lot of times fans, their go-to, especially ones who are more casual, is just put pucks on net, put pucks on net. Well, for the Wildcats, it's so easy for us to say up here. It seems like the mentality is as simple as just take pitches. Eventually, either if it's not the starter, somebody else is going to come in and walk you and hit you and give you long innings and rallies.
The 1-1 breaking ball finds the inside corner, 1 and 2, but we've seen it work against basically every team in the SWAC this year.
Specifically this week.
The 1-2 from Boykin, smacked back up the middle. There's a base hit right back where it came from, and Moya is aboard with his first hit of the day.
I'd be interested to see if, of course, we don't have the benefit of the StatCast and all those fun stats that Major League Baseball guys kind of dig through all the time.
I wish we did sometimes.
Just the velocity of some of these balls that have been hit today, that may be the hardest of any of them, just scorched right up the middle.
We saw Manny Sufrain hit a really hard one right back up the middle that popped out of the glove of the Southern shortstop earlier today. Sufrain bats now 1 down with Moya on first. Boykins from the stretch. Breaking ball catches the outside corner. Harry Boykins, this will be pitch number 60 for him, and we are in the 4th inning.
Still no one up in that pen.
Big cut and miss by Soufrain. It's again that slow breaking ball that just drops away from you.
And Soufrain's got some of those swings. Looks like he's clearly hunting that short porch out in right field. Looking to shoot it out over that wall.
Just like we saw Keelan Mack do in the 1st inning. The 0-2. Soufrain takes a garbage pitch in the opposite batter's box, 1-2. The shadows are now across the entirety of the field with the exception of the warning track out in right. Soufrain, ground ball! Base hit, first base side down the line. Moya trundles to second. He'll get there safely. And there's 2 on with 1 away, and here is Escobar.
Manny Soufrain was hunting for Moya on that pitch, had to jump out of the way back towards the first base bag before lumbering down there. I don't think it cost him anything. He certainly doesn't make it down to third. Again, another really hard hit ground ball.
Again, contact for the Wildcats. And what did I say? If you put that contact on the ground or in a line drive, it's going to cause more issues for the defense than if you just pop it up.
Yeah, don't worry so much about launch angle like everybody loves to preach in Major League Baseball nowadays. Take what's there. Like you said, Mike, keep it on the ground.
Here's Irvin Escobar, fly to left his first time up. Boykins delivers, hit sharply, left field and deep. It is 1 hop to the wall. It's kicked away by Burrell as well. Moya's going to round third and come home. He will score. The Wildcats are on the board. It's a scorching RBI double for Irvin Escobar, and he continues to light up the SWAC tournament.
Talk about your pick for MVP for this tournament. I don't know that there's been a better player across all of these different SWAC teams than Irvin Escobar. I mean, that ball was scorched. We haven't seen this from Escobar all year. This is a guy who fouled the ball off his kneecap in game 1 in the first couple innings.
Didn't even start game 2.
Didn't start game 2. Johnny Hernandez was kind of wavering if he should even play in the game that he pinch hit. He's been unbelievable.
All right, we got some movement. Somebody on Grambling State who is wearing a jacket, who I can't see his number, is trundling down towards the bullpen. But with 1 down, there's runners on second and third. Here's Olesen. First pitch, strike at the knees. Olesen, of course, was the recipient of that ridiculous strike 3 call in the 2nd inning. Looking to make up for it here. Boykins 0-1. Low in the dirt, 1-1. You said Olesen not having the best tournament, just 1 for 10 at the plate. Of course, I think 2 of those are sacked bunts, but still. He could tie the game or potentially give the Wildcats the lead with a base hit here. The 1-1 in the dirt again. And you've seen Boykins, as he begins to get a little bit tired, he's gone away from that straight down kind of pitch and doing a bit more of a sidearm angle, and it's dropping away and down to the righties and off the plate.
Also seems like the velocity may even be a tick down from what it was when it started, already pretty slow.
The 2-1. Again in the opposite batter's box, 3-1. It's that exact same pitch. He's releasing it late. He's trying to catch the outside corner, and all it catches is Murphy's knee as he slides across to keep the ball from going to the backstop. Not that Manny Soufrain is going to come home if the ball gets away, but you never know. If the ball kicks weird, heads toward a dugout, he could score. Olesen ahead in the count, 3-1. Boykins rocks and fires. On the ground towards second. It is a score for Manny Soufrain. It's an RBI ground out for Colton Olesen, and this game is tied.
Nothing wrong with doing your job there if you're Olesen. Just keeping it simple, pushing the run across, tying the game. With the way Louis Lipthrat's been throwing the ball, who knows what could happen. Doesn't mean any of this should stop. Keep pouring it on, especially while Boykins is still in the game.
Here's Jeremy Garcia with now just Escobar on second and 2 out. And Garcia takes the first pitch he sees high to left field, not deep. Borum makes the catch to end the inning. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left. The Wildcats tie the game as we go to the bottom of the 4th. 2-2 here between the Grambling State Tigers and Bethune-Cookman Wildcats on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Wildcats plate 2 in the top to tie the game. This is going to be a big inning for the Wildcats defensively. Hatton, Mack, Bufford, the top 3 hitters on this Grambling State team, up to the plate. 12 home runs, 16 home runs and 12 home runs. 1, 2, 3 between the 3 of them. And it was Mack that got Grambling on the board in the first with a bomb to right. First pitch to Hatton is low, ball 1. Lipthrat deals. Swing and a miss, and a breaking ball down and away. I wonder, if you look at the right center field area, the sun is really reflecting hard off of some windows in the buildings of downtown Atlanta. Here's the pitch. Strike on the inside corner, 1 and 2. I wonder if the batters can see that and it's annoying them at all.
I think maybe from that angle, it kind of looks like from here, the trees, the top of the trees should probably block that, but there's no real way for us to tell up here.
1-2. Swing and chop foul, and oh no, Escobar took another shot. I'm not sure if the bat hit him or the ball got him underneath the chest protector, but here comes Coach Hernandez's. It has been a gutsy performance from Irvin Escobar this week. He has been banged up, took a foul ball off his knee, foul ball. He was at the plate, fouled it off his knee. Took a foul ball in the meaty part of the thigh when he was behind the dish yesterday.
Kind of hunched over there behind home plate. It's going to take something drastic for him to come out of this game. He's just such a warrior. I'm not sure maybe if he got hit in the chest and it knocked the wind out of him. Maybe we saw him get hit somewhere in the groin.
He went down fast and stayed down until the athletic trainer came up and looked at him.
He's going to be all right.
He is now up, standing behind the plate. Coach Hernandez hands him his mask, taps him on the back, and says, go get him.
What a warrior. I mean, unbelievable week for Irvin Escobar.
I'm not sure if they do like a first-team all-tournament, or do they?
They do. They do. We will have an all-tournament team. It's just one team. Each coach is voting after the end of each of these games. 1 player from their respective roster and 2 from the opposing roster. So by the time things wrap here, we'll have the answer there once the championship game is done.
It will be a travesty if Irvin Escobar is not the catcher on that team. Fastball hit off the end of the bat, foul. Count holds 1 and 2 as Trevor Hatton stands back in. Just from the adversity to play through the injuries to the ridiculous batting average, all the RBIs.
He's just a sophomore, too.
The 1-2. Off the end of the bat, fouled again. Hatton battling here. Was down 0-2, now it's 1 and 2 with 2 foul balls.
So we hear some loud music from beyond the outfield wall. I thought maybe it was coming from the speakers here at the stadium, but no signal from the officials, so it must be from elsewhere.
1-2. Ball just missed on the outside corner, 2 and 2. Lipthrat is really chasing that slider away, and it's gotten a couple of swings and misses.
Some of them have just been outright nasty. Have started out over that bottom corner of the plate and dipped off into no man's land.
Lipthrat the 2-2. Strike 3 called. Fastball outside corner, and Hatton sits down.
I mean, what more can you say about Louis Lipthrat to this point? He's used that off-speed pitch to really set up the fastball. When the guys are seeing his tail so far out of the zone, they're expecting more of these pitches to do the same, and he paints a spot with the fastball. Guy's got nothing to offer for it.
Keelan Mack now, he has the big hit, the big home run to right field that gave Grambling their 2 runs in the first. First pitch to him. Fouled it back. He is loading up and swinging for the fences. That was a Robert Moya-esque swing. I say the hit. It's the only hit because Grambling State only has 1. It was the 2-run shot. Swinging that bright red bat to match red gloves. Grambling State, of course, yellow and black with red as a tertiary color. Used primarily in alternate uniforms and equipment and flashes here and there. Lipthrat comes set and deals inside and low, 2-1. Both of the pitchers that started today, Lipthrat and Boykins, both work from the stretch exclusively. They don't have a windup. So every time they go to throw, it's the exact same. There is one arm warming in the Grambling State bullpen. I'll tell you who that is in a second. Here's the 2-1. Downstairs 3-1. Mack ready for the 3-1 delivery by Lipfrat. Here it comes. Right over the heart of the plate, and the count runs full. The pitcher warming up in the Grambling State bullpen is Javier Martinez, the redshirt junior from Fuquay Valley, North Carolina.
Wouldn't be surprised if that was the last we saw of the Grambling State starter.
Here's the payoff from Lipfrat. Grounded toward first. Soufrain gonna flip it to Lipfrat, who covers well. 2 away.
Full-on shift over there from Oldison was played all the way out, pretty much parallel with where Highland Hall was lined up into right field. But Soufrain comes up with that ball. Clearly they were expecting it on that side of the infield. That's some great defensive positioning.
Well, the left-hander with power is pretty much primarily going to pull, so you are good to put the shift on there most of the time. Here is Cameron Bufford, grounded out to second his first time up. And he bats with nobody on and 2 out here in the bottom of the 4th. First pitch from Lipfrat. Goes way past Escobar. You're not going to score at a wild pitch because there's nobody on base. But if there was somebody on base, it probably would have been a wild pitch. No way Escobar's getting into that one. Kind
of going to that slider again. Dip it out of the zone. That one just dipped a little too far out of the zone and got by the glove of Escobar.
No harm, no foul. Here's the 1-0. Chop towards short. This is going to be a tough play to make for Garcia. He flips and fires, and a low stretch by Soufrain means the Grambling State Tigers go 1-2-3. The defense gets it done again for Bethune-Cookman. We go to the 5th. 2-2 in this ball game here as the Wildcats try and stay alive and force a decider on Saturday. You're listening to the Cat Eye Network. We go to the top of the 5th, and for the 3rd time this game, Luis Chuero leads off an inning. He's led off the 1st, 3rd, and now 5th. There's a bit of a statistical oddity for you for your Friday night. Wildcats and Tigers knotted at 2 here in this game where Wildcats are looking to stave off elimination and Grambling are looking to get a rest day, because if the Tigers win, they can sit back. First pitch to Chuero, swing and a ground ball towards second. Off the glove of Walker, he can't recover, and it's an infield single for Luis Chuero. Finally, he's on the board.
I think it's an interesting decision here for Grambling State not to go to the pen. 3rd time through the order. We know in modern-day baseball how important that can be.
I'm sorry, this is complete non sequitur, but Irvin Escobar just like threw a water pitcher against a wall, and it splattered everywhere. I'm not sure if he's mad about something or what, but it just caught the corner of my eye.
Certainly something worth checking up on.
We know Escobar was hit with the injury bug. Here's Garrett Shunn now. They check back the runner at first. The end of my point was that if Grambling State wins tonight, because FAMU won in the earlier game against Alabama State, that forced a replay. So Grambling State gets to sit, have a rest day, and watch FAMU and Bama State beat up on each other for a chance to face them in the finals. Second straight check on over to first.
And to kind of finish my point, I think it's an interesting decision to not bring out the bullpen here. It's the third time through the order. The Wildcats have already seen the ball really well. If they can put those balls on the ground and less so in the air, you could see a big inning before you can even get to your bullpen.
Chun's flied out to center twice, and before his infield single, Tuero had flied out to left once and right once. Chun tries to put a bunt down on the first pitch he sees, sends it foul. It's a bit of an awkward pitch to bunt. It was upstairs and away, and I think if that had been fair, it probably would have been caught by the third baseman, Vargas, who was charging hard. I just saw a dog in a backpack go by.
Never know what you're going to see in downtown Atlanta.
Nope. Didn't know it was dog day at the ballpark. Pitch, Chun bunts it, foul again. Now with 2 strikes, I don't think he'll be squaring to bunt.
Chun's been a guy who's bunted a lot. It's kind of interesting from this Wildcats top of the order with so many guys across this lineup hitting over 300 this year. He's 303 for Chun, but it's worked. It's paid off. Take runs where you can get them, and at this point the Wildcats think their best chance to do that is with a bunt over into scoring position.
Now the count 0-2 on Chun. He squares to bunt again. This time he puts it down right in front of the mound. Boykins fires to first. In time, barely. That was close as Chun moves the runner to second.
That is a really close play. We're not going to get any argument from head coach Jonathan Hernandez at this point. That was really bang, bang.
I don't think you want to waste a challenge on that with 1 out in the inning and the heart of the order coming up for the Wildcats. Here's Highland Hall, singled in the first, fly to left in the third. He's another guy that's hit the ball hard twice.
Saw Highland Hall get a hold of one early in this tournament. Could he do it again?
Hit one right over the 390 sign in dead center in the first inning against Jackson State to tie the game. First pitch to Highland Hall way outside, 1-0.
Still interesting. We haven't seen any Wildcats really hunt for that 350 sign out there in right center. It feels like it's only a matter of time, but I keep saying that and nothing keeps happening.
Pitch number 79 upcoming for Kerry Boykins. Wonder what his longest outing of the season is, because we might be approaching it. There's a strike outside corner, 1-1. Boykins, his longest outing of the season was 6 innings even. A 1-1 to Hall, breaking ball, catches the inside corner for strike 2. Went 6 innings against Texas Southern and Prairie View earlier on in the year, then went 5 innings 3 other times. So not really close to his longest outing of the season. We're still here in the top of the 5th. Pitch, Hall turns on it, high in the air down the right field line. That will go foul into the bleachers. Count holds 1-2. And Highland is talking to the umpire. I mean, that second pitch, the breaking ball, looked inside. That was called a strike.
It's always going to be the head coach's job to do that side of the game. You don't want to get the umpire on your bad side.
We've seen in the first game against Southern, the Wildcats started chirping the umpire, and it led to a small strike zone. Or rather, a large strike zone when they were at bat. The pitch, Hall turns on a breaking ball, fouls it straight back into the crowd.
Pitch that nearly hit Hall.
And after every pitch, Hall stepping out, talking to the umpire. Now he's smiling, so maybe it was a joke. We obviously can't hear what's said all the way up here. Count once again 1-2. This will be the third 1-2 pitch from Boykins. He rocks and fires. Hall turns on one and fouls it off. Man, that was laced. It hit the upper deck of the Champions Hall patio in left field.
You see, again, the quickness of the hands of Highland Hall, the kind of athlete, the kind of baseball player he is, to be able to, again, that's one in just right by his hands on the inside of the plate. He manages to hit that one into right. That's impressive.
Hyla, the SWAC newcomer of the year after transferring in from Washington State. For the 4th time, we'll have a 1-2 pitch. Boykins deals. Grounded to third. Leaping grab by Vargas across the diamond, 2 away, and that did not move the runner.
Maybe some You like to have some of those fouls back if you're Highland Hall. Could have very easily gotten to a better count, maybe seen a better pitch later in that one.
Now here's Boris Pena, singled in the first, flied to center in the fourth. Tuero still on second after the leadoff single, and the sac bunt by Garrett Shun. To Boykins' credit, he has settled down this inning as a breaking ball is cut on and missed by Pena. After giving up the opening single, he's been very collected after that.
Just still not a lot of velocity on anything he's offering for these Wildcats. That one probably mid-70s in the breaking ball.
Yeah, the outfield for Grambling is playing straight up but very deep. Pena rockets this one. That's a base hit to center field. Grounding third and coming home is Tuero. He will score without a throw. The Wildcats have the lead. It's 3-2 on the RBI single for Boris Pena.
They'll dance it up in the dugouts. Luis Tuero goes through the tunnel of his Wildcats compadres down there. They're having fun. They're playing fun baseball. The way Louis Lipthrat's throwing the ball, these kind of innings can go a long way and maybe set yourselves up for a great rest of the week.
Here's Moya, popped out to second in the first, singled and scored in the fourth. Was brought home by the Irvin Escobar double. First pitch to him, low in the dirt, ball one. So they did have Javier Martinez warming up, did Grambling. He has since sat down. I don't know if that means he's warm or that they trust Boykins. And we are going to have a meeting on the mound. This is not the head coach. This is assistant coach Perez Knowles, who is in charge of pitching. So I don't think we're going to see a change here because it's not the head coach. But who knows?
Arm has started to stand back up there in the bullpen for Grambling. Still kind of baffling to me that Boykins is still out there. I get it's late in the tournament. You kind of have to maintain what few arms you have left. You can't really get cued, and at the same time, you can't let this lead balloon too far. I mean, I understand the bats have been swinging it well both ways early on in this game, but I just haven't felt like he's had a lot on anything he's been offering for BCU today.
The senior from Houston, Texas will remain in the game. As Martinez continues to warm up in the left field line bullpen. And here's Robert Moya with 1 on and 2 out. First pitch to him. In the dirt, skips away from the catcher. And the long legs of Boris Pena means that wild pitch is going to get him to second.
With another runner in scoring position, Wildcats have done a better job this week of capitalizing on those opportunities. We still see a handful some of these middle innings, but the Wildcats have been kind of uncharacteristically for them, putting pressure on in just about every single inning early here.
The 1-0 to Moya is in the outside batter's box, skips away from the catcher again. Pena slides into third on another wild pitch.
I said this is the kind of disciplined Wildcats team that's been the one to take advantage of every little thing like that. And again, it kind of furthers the decision to leave Boykins in the game as we start to see the bullpen down there for Grambling State to continue to ramp up. He just doesn't have a lot left in the tank.
The count is 3-0. The pitch from Boykins. Ball 4. Moya takes his base, runners on the corners, and here's Soufrain.
Moya's just been so patient at the plate this week. He has not bitten on stuff. He's taken a lot of walks. He started a lot of rallies with those walks, and here he's keeping the train moving and giving Manny Soufrain, who swung the bat well, another chance to hit.
Runners on the corners with 2 down. Here's Soufrain, who is 2 for 2 with a double and a single and a run scored in the ballgame so far. The catcher, Julian Murphy, walks out in front of the plate, signals to his infield. They're running a different play. They're going to run a deep shift against Soufrain, but that may be with a different pitcher in the ballgame, because here comes second-year head coach Davin Pierre to trot out. And as you predicted, Bryce, that is the end of Kerry Boykins, as the Wildcats in the last 2 innings, third time through the order, have jumped all over him.
And now we've seen it all week in our games, in FAMU's games,
in
every game we've seen at this tournament. once you get into the bullpen, it is a free-for-all. And this is where the Wildcats have such a big advantage right now with Louis Lipthrat still throwing.
Here is Javier Martinez. He is a redshirt junior from Fuquay Valley, North Carolina, a transfer from Catawba Valley Community College. His statistics look like this. He is 1-3 in 18 appearances with 2 starts. He's got a 12.9 ERA. In 32 innings pitched, he's given up 51 runs on 44 hits, striking out 27 and walking 29, a negative strikeout to walk ratio.
And that has just kind of been the name of the game in this tournament. So many walks, so many free passes, so many little things. But when you're down at the end of that pen, what other choice do you have?
He's been in some tough games against Little Rock, Dallas Baptist, Arkansas. That Arkansas game back on the 21st of February was a game that actually Grambling State almost won. The final score was 8-7 Hogs, but an early season game that Grambling was in. And of course, 22 of the 29 wins on the season for Grambling State have come via conference play.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about it, and we've talked about it a lot over the course of this year. Grambling State just another prime example of another bloated record from playing, whether it's East teams in a non-conference slate, playing some of the people in their own conference in non-conference play, counting them as a non-conference game.
I'm going to stop you right here because there's a very intriguing conversation going on between Robert Moya and Manny Sufrain. It looks like Moya is giving him some hitting tips. From his body language, he's telling him, don't wildly swing at it and uppercut and go for the fences. Shorten up, put one in play.
It's funny. In the earlier game this afternoon, I saw Moya giving him some similar advice when he was on first base. You saw Moya, I thought maybe he was working out his shoulder, but Moya was looking at Manny Sufrain, kind of looking, making eye contact, and going through a swing motion, kind of trying to show Manny, like what you just said, shorten your swing and do just that.
Runners on the corners, 2 down, 1 already in the inning to give the Wildcats a 3-2 lead. Here's Manny Sufrain to face the new pitcher, Javier Martinez. Martinez, a right-hand pitcher. The first delivery he shows is grounded towards second base. Playing deep in the hole is Walker, and he ends the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Wildcats have the lead for the first time in the contest. It's 3-2 right here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Wildcats with a 3-2 lead. Jose Vargas leads off, facing Luis Lipthrat, who has been terrific. Aside from 1 pitch that was hit for a 2-run homer, he's only allowed 1 hit, and that was it. First pitch to Vargas, well, that's a hit. Into left center field and deep, racing over Chun. He dives, oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Garrett Chun just made the catch of the year! full stretch, laying out to rob an extra base hit from Jose Vargas.
Mike, you called it a hit. Garrett Chun said, no thank you.
He heard me.
He heard
He
you
heard
from
me and
here.
said, no way.
That was unbelievable.
That there's a couple of times I've been speechless this tournament. That was one of those times. You expect something like that at a Highland Hall, and he's already made a play like that in this game. But Garrett, man, full speed, full stretch, laying out. That's got to be a Catch of the Year nominee. First pitch, a strike to Keanu Jacobs Guichard. Guichard struck out his first time up. Sometimes you just need your defense to pick you up. Breaking ball. Buckles Guichard, and it's 0-2.
That's what we've said, Mike, throughout this tournament. The Wildcats are just having success in so many different ways. Defensively, at the plate, some guys on the mound have stepped up, some guys who haven't stepped up normally.
Outside and low, trying to get that chase again. Liptrat's done really well trying to get that swing on the outside. I'm just looking at the replay of that catch. That was ridiculous. The rest of the Wildcats defense has to make it matter in the opposite batter's box for a ball 2-2.
I think you could already make the case, Mike, even only 4 and change into this inning, that Luis Lipthrat has already maybe been the best starting pitcher the Wildcats have trotted out there this week. I mean, Nolan Santos probably would take that, but it's close.
We shall see. Hit high in the air to right field. That's kind of in no man's land. Soufrain moves over, and it's going to drift foul. The wind really kind of, well, there is no wind. It looked like the wind pushed that one foul.
Just kind of tailed over that way.
Anyway, the count holds 2-2 on Guichard. He's hitting .330. 35 hits on the year, 2 homers, respectable numbers. In the outside batter's box, 3-2. Another one trying to get Keanu to chase. Another full count for Lipthrat. He deals. That one's hammered into left field. That's a base hit. Gonna drop and bounce into Pena's glove. First hit of the game since the first inning for Grambling State, and Guichard is aboard with 1 down. And you could feel like a big weight lift off of the Grambling State bench's shoulders right there.
Yeah, haven't had a lot of success against Lipthrat. A lot of big swings and misses. Haven't seen a lot of hard contact yet, but that's back-to-back. Of course, that one drops in for the hit. We'll see how much longer it'll take before the BCU bullpen maybe starts to get a little antsy and send somebody down there. Nothing right now.
Here's Julian Murphy, grounded out to the pitcher his first time up. First pitch, a breaking ball strike, catches the inside. There is still music very loudly playing from somewhere. We do not know where, but it's not the stadium. The 0-1. Ground ball up the middle, that's another base hit. 2 in a row, and there's 2 on with 1 out.
Biggest spot of the night we've seen for Lipthrat. He's got to buckle down here. Got to hope that when he starts to waver, when the command, when the velocity, when he starts to get tired, that he doesn't turn it into an implosion. Have to keep it contained.
Here's Terry Burrell, the third, grounded out to the second baseman his first time. And now Escobar is going to bring the entire infield in to talk to Lipthrat. Maybe trying to keep it low, induce a double play ball. Trying to get out of this inning with no harm done. We talked about it during the inning break, Bryce, that this could go sideways really fast. We've seen Lipthrat fall apart this season after starts like this.
With the way the bats are swinging, you know, a run is okay. You know, you don't want anything, of course, but like I said, you have to avoid the complete implosion. You can't have a big rally. You can't have just a really long, extended inning. If Lipthrat can get through this one, maybe give him one more, you're talking about setting up that bullpen as about as well as it can be for the remainder of this game, but he's got a ways to go here.
2 on, 1 out. Here's Burrell. Righty to righty. Big spot for Lipthrat here. Can he hold his nerve? The first pitch. Strike at the knees, 0-1.
And with the fastball to start off that at bat. A lot of times we've seen him start off with that breaking ball and kind of have it set up the fastball.
Going the other way this time. Lipthrat fires low. Oh, it's called a strike. 0-2.
Well, we've seen some questionable strike calls from home plate official tonight. At the very least, it seemed to be going both ways.
Lipthrat winds and fires. Chopped towards second. This could be 2. On to second for 1. Back to first. No play at first. They go back to third and try to catch Guichard sleeping. He will dive safely in there. So Burrell on with the fielder's choice. Murphy out 4-6. And now there's 2 out and 2 on the corners for Tigers Borom.
I don't know if I love the throw there from Garcia over to third. Tuero had to kind of pick that one out of the dirt. You're just kind of setting yourself up for nothing more than an error. If you get in the rare chance that you could get him at third, it's not worth the risk there.
There's no way he scores from that position. The ball's in the infield. Borom has flied to left and flied to center, and he swings and misses at a fastball for strike 1. I think I know why there's music, because it's commencement week here at Georgia Tech. There's probably a party somewhere nearby. Borom fouls it away, 0-2. Golfed past the diving glove of Olesen, and we've got a tie game. A rocket throw in from Chun to keep Burrell at second. But that was about as hard hit as you can get a ball. Colton, to be fair, did a really good job. He tried to get to it, but it was just past his glove. And Borom is on with the 3rd single of the inning, 4th straight hit for Grambling State, and it's 3-3.
Like we said, Mike, it kind of feels like this game has all the makings of one that's really not going to be decided until these last couple of innings. It's anybody's game right now, the way both of these teams are swinging the bat.
We kind of expected this going in. Here's Tyler Walker. First pitch upstairs by his head, 1-0. It's been a long day.
Still a ways to go.
It is just past 8:30 here on the East Coast. Walker deals, Lipthrat deals to Walker, and it's a breaking ball strike, 1-1. Go-ahead run on second in the form of Terry Burrell. Borom on first after singling home the tying run. It's 3-3. The pitch. Fouled straight back, 1-2. The one thing I could dock Lipthrat in this game is he's had a lot of guys in 2-strike counts and just not put them away, letting them hang around with pitches in the opposite batter's box or in the dirt.
I think just kind of based on the way his season's gone, that nibbling is kind of to be expected. He's seen a lot of it go the other way, so he's trying to be extra careful, especially with what's a pretty powerful Grambling State offense.
The 1-2. High in the air, foul straight back, and that'll hit the roof of the press box. For the 3rd straight time, we will have a 1-2 pitch in this at-bat. Really high pressure on this one. Lipthrat with the glove at the belt. Now he winds and fires. The runners go. The throw down to third is way in time. Escobar guns down Burrell, and the inning is over.
What can't Irvin Escobar do?
A caught stealing ends the frame. Walker will lead off when Grambling State comes back in the bottom of the 6th. But we go to the top of the 6th and a tie ball game here. Wildcats trying to stave off elimination here on the Cat Eye Network. Make sure you are representing BCU Athletics at its fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online at the Bethune-Cookman online store. Go to bcuathletics.com and click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's bcuathletics.com and click on Shop. To the 6th inning, we go in a 3-3 ball game. Irvin Escobar leads off to face Javier Martinez. And that's the second pitch thrown by Javier Martinez because he got out of the bottom of the 5th in one pitch to Manny Sufrain. The ball is low and away, and it's 1-0. Martinez, another righty, winds and fires. In on the hands for strike one. He's got a little bit more velocity than Boykins did, but he's got a very similar wind-up, only goes from the stretch. The 1-1, breaking ball, catches the middle of the plate, 1-2. That's one that probably Escobar would like to have back.
Just a very patient guy at the plate, has been his whole career. It's really impressive from just a sophomore.
The 1-2 in the outside batter's box, 2-2.
The darkness kind of falls here at Rush Chandler Stadium. That scoreboard out in center field is
very bright.
Very bright.
It is officially twilight here. Sun setting below the horizon to our left. The 2-2. Escobar hit on the ground to short. Grichard fields and fires one away.
Irvin Escobar has been nearly impossible to get out. The very rare ground out for him, but he's done just about everything else in this game, defense and otherwise.
Caught a guy stealing in the top of the 6th.
We'll excuse the ground out just this once.
Here's Colton Olesen, struck out of the 2nd, grounded out of the 4th. Again, not had a great tournament. Even though he did ground out, he got an RBI as Sufrain came home. Olesen, first pitch swinging sky high behind second base. The shortstop falls down. He recovers and makes the catch. Good job by Grichard. That could have been a disaster for Grambling State.
Just kind of stumbled over his own feet, but yeah, had enough time with how high that ball was hit to gather himself and get back up pretty quickly.
The second baseman Walker goes over to him, puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "It's okay. It's okay. You got it." Here's the 9-hole hitter Garcia. The Wildcats have not been set down 1-2-3 so far in the game. In a tie ball game here. Martinez, first pitch gets away from him into the outside. 1-0 to the lefty Garcia, who grounded to short in the 2nd and fly to left in the 4th. Long hold now, the 1-0 inside, almost hit him, deflects off the umpire and skips away. It looked like that got the umpire in either the shoulder or the chest.
The only person that didn't move was Jeremy Garcia. Didn't even flinch at that one. Everybody else is scrambling out of the way after that pitch.
Umpire Kevin Bradley appears to be okay. Count is 2-0 on Garcia. Hasn't had the best numbers as Garcia, but has had a kind of redemption-laden tournament.
Yeah, he was hitting 500 coming into today.
The 2-0, right down the middle, 2-1.
But he's done that by doing what a lot of these Wildcat hitters have done, just taking what the defense gives him. And I think nearly every ball has been through the infield, a lot out to that right field over there.
Fouled away 2-2. You could see he was licking his lips at that pitch. It was kind of slow and down the middle, and he just got out in front of it a little bit.
Hopping on it just a little bit, getting a little anxious, a little overexcited.
2 strikes, 2 balls, 2 outs. Top of the 6th. Nobody on base. Pitch. Garcia takes ball 3 as the mostly Grambling State partial crowd bemoans that decision by the home plate umpire.
Don't have a whole lot to complain about.
Once again, a full count. As darkness falls over McNeese Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium, the pitch. Ball 4 in the dirt, and it will not be a 1-2-3 inning for the Cats as Garcia draws a walk, and here comes Tuero.
It's a solid at bat. That's what it takes against these relief arms. Just keep the train moving, keep the pressure on. I've noticed in the dugout as we've gone through this inning, Luis Lipthrett's got a very standard routine pitch to pitch. He's pacing to one side of the dugout, watching the pitch, pacing to the other side of the dugout, watching the pitch, continuing to stay loose, continuing to stretch out.
Nobody in the bullpen for the Wildcats. Will be Lipthret in the 6th. Tuero, first pitch low, and it's 1-0. Tuero has hit the ball hard all 3 times, flied to right in the first, left in the third, and then singled up the middle in the fifth and eventually scored on the RBI single by Pena. The 1-0, breaking ball finds the zone, 1-1. And you can tell that all the preaching of patience by this coaching staff, Carballo, Hernandez, has really kind of paid off here later on in this tournament.
And then some.
The 1-1, chop towards first, foul, 1-2.
When we talked to Coach Hernandez after the first initial loss in this tournament, it was kind of the point where he was begging guys, take the first pitch. We're begging you, stop swinging at the first pitch. And patience has really been what's gotten them as far as they have, and worked a lot of long innings, a lot of big rallies. It's been the driving force behind an offensive explosion.
The 1-2 almost hit Tuero as he backs out of the way. I always wonder, like, I know you have to make an effort, quote unquote, to get out of the way, but if he kind of like shuffles back and gets hit on the leg.
Well, so my thing with that is always so easy for us up here to say, just take the ball, but that stuff hurts.
Yeah, here's the 2-2. Tuero swings, chopper up the middle, and it's a diving stop. Throw to first. The ball is there. What a great stretch by Bufford at first base. The ball almost got away from Grichard. He kind of kicked it off his foot, then grabbed it. Now, hold on, they might be going to review this. Grambling State all ran off the field, Bethune-Cookman running onto the field. They're ushering them back on. We may have a review. So the ball was hit up the middle, straight at the bag. Grichard, from his shortstop position, kicked it away to the first base side of second, eventually gloved it, fired to first. It was a long stretch by Bufford to try and make the play. I think there's 2 things we're looking at here. A, does Tuero beat out the throw? And B, is Bufford on the bag? We're looking at it right now on the replay. The throw is definitely there in time. Now, is Bufford on the bag? Inconclusive from the angles we've seen so far, and that means that it's going to stand.
It looked to me, at least in real time, and we probably won't get a good look at it because it's all going to be in slow motion on the broadcast from here on out. It didn't really look to me like Luis Tuero was really giving his best effort sprinting down the line. Kind of looked like, especially towards the end, he was kind of loafing it just a little bit. But I think you're right, Mike. I think there's not going to be enough evidence there to let that one be overturned. The Wildcats have kind of been on the wrong end of that kind of decision, that kind of language.
If this stands, the Wildcats would be 0 for 4 on challenges in this tournament. 3 of them in the Jackson State game.
Yeah, 2 of those were coaches' challenge. 1 was an official challenge. I think from talking to a lot of people around the ballpark on our media team and otherwise, I think one of those calls, the Frankie Feblis call at home plate, was probably the one you could most make a case for was missed. But again, with that language in the rules, we've talked about it, Mike, that says if it's inconclusive, if it's unable, if there's not clear evidence to overturn it, it gets a lot of these officials kind of out on that kind of call.
The ball definitely beats Chun. Is Bufford's foot on the bag? And I think it is. I think his toe drags the bag and slides off, but he still makes contact before Chun gets there.
I agree. I just don't think there's any significant angle that we've seen so far to suggest otherwise.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU baseball, follow at BCU Diamondcats on Twitter and on Instagram. You will definitely be wanting to follow those 2 accounts, as some great pictures being posted from the games for the last couple of days. The SWAC photography team and also our media team been working real hard. Here come the umpires, and I expected to be out. He is out, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 6th in a 3-3 ball game. Luis Lipcraft back on the mound when we come back. This is the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the 6th here at Rush Chandler Stadium, McNeese Baseball Park. Sorted out. Kyle Walker leads off for Grambling State in a 3-3 ball game. First pitch from Lipthrat is low, and the count 1-0. Looks like our crowd mic is having some trouble. We'll troubleshoot that in between innings. For now, you can just listen to Bryce and I. Hit off the end of the bat, foul straight back, 1-1.
This is a really big inning for Lipthrat. We start to see some poking around in the bullpen for the Wildcats, but he's been so solid so far.
Lipthrat up to 72 pitches. This is number 73. Hit hard into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Kyle Walker aboard to lead off the inning. And that's another piece of hard contact. And we saw it from Boykins, right? When the Wildcats started making that hard contact, line drives, that's when you kind of know it may be time to start thinking about a change. Now, did you say Gamboa is back there?
It's Santiago Gomez is down there starting to get loose. We figured it would kind of be a piggyback kind of game, less so than a bullpen game. The two of these guys kind of compounding for the full game. We'll see how much longer the leash is for Lipthrat.
Squaring to bunt is Hatton, but the first pitch doesn't come. It goes over to first. Walker steps back in. Keelan Mack on deck. A dangerous man to come to the plate with a runner on. Squaring to bunt again. He puts it down the first base line. Foul, 0-1.
Lipthrat again has to kind of go back to what was his bread and butter last year. Relying on that defense rather than strikeout pitches or anything of that sort. You don't want to get too cute when you're up in the count. Already has the one strike.
We have solved our crowd mic issue. It is back. Count 0-1 to Hatton. He squares to bunt again. The pitch is a strike on the outside corner. It missed the bunting bat, and it's 0-2.
Escobar kind of pumped at a chance to throw down to first base and try to nail the runner Walker over there. Didn't end up making that throw.
Escobar looks to the dugout to get the call, now relays it to Lipthrat. Louis fires. Swung on and fouled away, and the count holds 0-2. Earlier in the day, Florida A&M beat Prairie View to stay alive in the early game. The Wildcats, of course, beat Southern 10-6. Lipthrat in the 0-2 again, outside 1-2. And in the game right before this one, the A bracket elimination game, FAMU stayed alive, forced a replay with Alabama State tomorrow with an 8-6 win. They were up 8-3 in that game, and Alabama State almost came back. They had the bases loaded in the ninth. Swing and a miss, and down on strikes goes Hatton.
Lipthrat has kind of lived on that outer edge and then on the bottom half of the plate today. Haven't seen a whole lot left up. When it has been, it's been made hard contact. He's got a lot of swings and misses down there, especially with that breaking ball.
That's 3 strikeouts on the game for Hatton, 2 swinging, 1 looking.
Here comes head coach Johnny Hernandez. Maybe trying to take care and pull Lipthrat before anything can get out of hand.
This is the guy that hit the home run that opened the scoring for Grambling State in the first, but it doesn't look, outside of that Walker pitch that was hammered to left for a single. Lipthrat looks in command. He got the strikeout. He's been holding the runner on first, but we shall see.
Hernandez has his hands right at the bottom of the neck of Lipthrat. Really just have to imagine he's telling him, hey, did a hell of a job to get us this far. You can do this. You've shown already you can do this. This is the guy we saw last year. This is the guy we've seen in spots this year. We know this is a big hitter. We know this is a big out. We know this is a huge spot. But he's already shown tonight that he can handle it.
And Coach Hernandez is a guy that these players really look up to, kind of a father figure in and around the dugout. But he can get on him, and he preached that mentality after the loss to Southern. He was not happy. We talked to him in the post-game interview, and he said a lot of things we couldn't repeat on the broadcast, which is kind of the point of the post-game interview.
He's also not a guy who's going to chew out his players. You know, he's not a guy who's going to get up and yell and do that whole thing. That's just not his personality.
Keelan Mack, the first pitch to him is outside and low, 1-0.
Talking to him, Hernandez is a guy who just kind of quietly challenged his guys. Left it up to them. It's their game to win. It's their game to lose.
Lipthrat deals. Breaking ball catches the outside part of the plate, 1-1. And he's mentioned multiple times to us in our meetings that he's challenged the guys, do you want to go home? It's up to you if you go home or not. And the last 2 days, the Wildcats have not wanted to go home, pulling out some clutch victories. The 1-1. Mack grounded to first, foul. 1-2. Of course, Coach Hernandez has not been here that long. In the ever-changing world of collegiate athletics, who knows what could happen, but he was already talking about, some of the guys who maybe have committed from junior college for next year and who's coming back, who's leaving potentially, and how the roster is going to shape up. He is all in on next season for BCU.
He has been in his whole tenure here.
Breaking ball misses outside, 2-2 to Mack.
I think the biggest thing you can say about Coach Hernandez is just his love for this university, his love for this program. He came in just before the COVID pandemic shut everything down for a year. He was delivering packages for Amazon when he was without a spot here on that coaching staff with the athletics shut down.
The 2-2. Fouled away, will do it again.
He's not the only Wildcat head coach here to do that. No. Head coach Brittany Williams with volleyball is doing some things similar.
Laura Watton with softball as well. The coaches that stayed through that shutdown period, pride in your job, pride in your university that you work for. Here's the 2-2 again. Mack, grounder and foul. And again a 2-2.
And a guy like Terry Sims, who, of course, we saw the departure of this last off season. Guys who stuck through. Some programs were hit harder than others. Football was one of those ones that really took a heavy hit from the pandemic. Baseball and softball were able to kind of maintain their footing and really be competitive right out of the gate.
Lots of guys went to junior college or community college and then came back.
A lot of guys on this BCU roster.
Lipthrat misses away outside, 3-2.
Alec Mendez, Colton Olison, Brian Perez, many others.
Just to continue to play baseball, and then when BCU opened back up, they said, we want in. And it's got them to this. A tie ball game in a loser's bracket semifinal. Ground ball to Olison. He fires away, 2 down.
Really hard hit ball there, but then again, you have Colton Olison on the other end. He's the guy that's going to make those plays. He's done it all year.
Here's Bufford. Has grounded to the middle infield twice. Once to second, once to short. With Kyle Walker on second base after the leadoff single. 2 down here in the top of the 6th. I think this might be Luis Lipthrat's last inning no matter what happens here, as he is up north of 100 pitches now. Breaking ball, high in the air, right center field. Chun moves over, he makes the catch, 2 steps in front of the wall. Luis Lipthrat turns to the dugout, pumps his fist and screams. What a gutsy performance from him today. And the Wildcats go to the 7th. It's still 3-3. You're listening to BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. I gotta bring the slider down because it's so loud. So the reason was I put, just to kind of get a better angle of the microphone, I put it on top of here, and I put it on top of the power source, and it was interfering with the, there's some technical things I won't get into, but that's what happened. Oh, God. No, I remember a exam I had in college where I had to diagram that problem and why it happens and how to fix it. It's the difference between like balanced and unbalanced lines interfering with electrical signals, and God, I hated that class. It was like intro to audio technology. There you go. But it was the class you had to take that was all book study and theory before they actually let you touch any of the equipment. It was a whole semester of just a giant-ass textbook and studying before they let you touch any equipment. But hey, I got through it, and something's still there. Wrong direction. Wherever you are in this ballpark, you got to be wary of foul balls. They will come at you from anywhere. Once again, the 0-2. Hard hit into left center. Back goes Borum. Oh, he makes a nice running catch over his head and crashes into the wall. That ball carried a lot farther than I thought it was going to. And Borum potentially saves a double, maybe even a triple if that gets down.
You know, Borum kind of lackadaisically ran his way over there, tracked it well, and was able to make kind of over-the-shoulder basket-style catch.
That's the second really impressive catch we've seen from a left fielder in this tournament. I'm trying to remember his name. It was Daniel Bannon from Jackson State had a really nice one. And also Rolone from Southern had a good one against us. And there have just been some really great defensive plays on both sides of the ball. We've seen two spectacular catches from the Wildcats so far tonight. Here's Highland Hall. First pitch, swing and a miss at a breaking ball, 0-1. And it feels like as teams get closer and closer to that final round, they can kind of maybe sense they might be in with a chance to win it. They're selling out more.
It's really anybody's game, especially if we get to a game tomorrow.
The 0-1 inside, 1-1. Like, do you see Garrett Sean lay out full-fledged, if this is a regular season game in March, do you see
chance.
Highland Hall go sliding across the outfield if this is a February non-conference game?
Absolutely not. That's the kind of plays that go on the championship DVD, as they would say.
This is playoff baseball. Everybody giving 100%. Outside, ball 2.
Seeing the lit-up skyline down in here in Atlanta for the first time this week.
This is really nice in a night game setting with the lights blaring down. It's not overly powerful. Here's the 2-1. Chop foul, 2-2. Very nice, like, ambient glow from the lights. The NCR building and the Googleplex right across from us beyond the center field wall. Look up some pictures if you're at home of Russ Chandler Stadium at McNeese Baseball Park. It's a beautiful place. And if you're in the Atlanta area, next year, come out to some Georgia Tech games. Highland Hall skies one down the right field line. It will go foul into the bullpen.
Got to give credit to the SWAC in this venue and kind of locking this down for the tournament this year. We were in Birmingham last year at the site of the Birmingham Barons AAA team. It's a much bigger ballpark, a really nice ballpark, but a professional AAA park, so it's not necessarily built for kind of the smaller crowds and the more homey style that these SWAC games have brought.
Pitch to Highland. Hit in the air to dead center field. Going back, Burrell to the track, to the wall. He leaps. Did he make the catch? Oh my goodness, what a grab. 2 back-to-back insane catches from Grambling State. That looked almost like he robbed a home run from Highland Hall.
It's hard to say from up here. I think that ball kicks off the top of the wall. I don't think he reached over the wall for it, but either way, what an unbelievable grab out there for Burrell. Grambling State is putting it all on the line to keep this thing knotted at 3.
Wow. Grambling State's feeling the pressure. They were heavily favored in this game. But the Wildcats have shown up and showed them that they're not going to walk straight to the championship game that easily. First pitch to Boris Pena, low and away, ball 1. We've seen 4 of the best defensive catches I think I've seen all season in a span of 2 innings.
Championship baseball, Mike.
Martinez kicks and deals. On the ground towards second. Walker doesn't have to move as he flips to first. Oh, Bufford almost forgot to step on the bag. He does eventually go back to end the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Cats, but not for the lack of trying. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Looks like we'll see a new pitcher out there for Bethune-Cookman when we come back. This is BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the 7th and a 3-3 tie. A game the Wildcats need to win to force a replay against Grambling State tomorrow. And it will be Darius York to take over after a terrific start from Luis Liptrat. He went 6 full innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, and really has given the Wildcats a chance to win. First pitch, fastball strike at the knees from Darius York. York is 1-1, 15 appearances with no starts. He's got a 6.84 ERA, and he winds and fires. Chopper towards second. Tough play for Olison, going to his offhand. He fields and fires away. What a play by Colton Olison.
He's been doing it all night. Colton Olison's been nearly perfect out there at second base. Darius York, Mike, you go over his numbers. He's another guy that's not going to blow you away statistically, but we saw Yoancel Diaz today take that ball and run with it and show something we hadn't seen all year. Does Darius York have that kind of performance in him?
In 26 and a third innings for York, he's given up 28 runs on 30 hits. Striking out 14 and walking 20. Ground ball to short. In time from Garcia to Sufrain. 3 pitches, 2 down.
Credit to the Wildcats pitching staff. The back end of this bullpen has been a welcome surprise. Still a ways to go for York, but that's a great start.
That was Keanu Jacobs Guichard who just grounded out. Now here's Julian Murphy. Murphy grounded out to the pitcher in the second, and then singled and was caught in a fielder's choice in the 5th. First pitch to him, a strike. York has allowed 3 homers, no triples, 7 doubles, and allowed a .297 average against. Check swing, did he go? Yes, and there's 2 strikes on Murphy.
For the Wildcats bullpen, attacking the zone has been the key. When you get up in counts, we've seen the success.
You can hear Louis Liptrat cheering on his reliever. Hit out into right, Highland Hall tracking it, one-handed grab on the move. Darius York comes in, stares down Grambling State and makes him go 1-2-3. We go to the 8th, still tied at 3 right here on the Cat Eye Network. Robert Moya leads off for the Wildcats in the 8th inning. It's getting tight now, 3-3. This is the closest game runs-wise the Wildcats have been in all tournament, you know, and in terms of competitiveness, these two teams seem pretty evenly matched tonight. First pitch to Moya. Grab ball right back up the middle. There's a base hit. First pitch swinging from Moya, and he is aboard with nobody out. That's the second base hit of the game from Moya. He's 2 for 3 with a walk so far tonight.
Robert Moya's had success kind of doing a little bit of everything at the plate. The only thing we really haven't seen him do in this tournament is go deep. He's had a triple, he's had doubles, he's walked, he's worked singles. He's been all over the place, and that's exactly the kind of hitter that Jonathan Hernandez was bargaining for when he brought him into the Wildcats in the offseason. Just didn't have a bat like that last year.
He doesn't have a home run, but not for the lack of trying. Remember, he did hit one off the football practice facility for a foul ball. Soufrain bunts back to the pitcher. Underhanding to first for the out as Moya goes to second on the sac bunt.
A little dangerous there. I'm not sure if they don't try to make the turn to second if you can't turn the double play. Moya's kind of sneaky athletic. He'll run down the line. He's got some quickness to him. He very well may have beat it out, so it might be safe to take the run at first, but I think there was a shot at it if they decided to go to second.
I think somebody in the Grambling dugout yelled 2-2-2, but Martinez very calmly flipped to first. Here's Escobar, 1 for 3, has a double and an RBI in the fourth, and then popped out in the second, grounded out in the sixth. First pitch is strike. The potential go-ahead run, and Robert Moya awaits on second. Again, Robert Moya is not one of those guys that's going to score from second with a single.
He'll huff it, though, if he needs to.
The 0-1 gets away from the catcher. Moya goes down to third. There will be no throw. Robert Moya just got very lucky because that ball ricocheted hard off the wall behind the home plate, but it ricocheted away from the catcher Murphy, so he didn't have a throw. If that ball goes right back to Murphy, he is out by a mile.
Yeah, and I thought that's what we would see, but Murphy ended up kind of just running that one down. It was a very awkward-looking play from up here, just kind of slowly jogging behind it, but it just never stopped rolling, and Moya down there at third now.
There's some padding behind the plate with some SWAC branding on it for the TV cameras. I wonder if that kicked off the edge of that padding
Definitely
and rolled
dampens.
away, because I'm not sure a flat wall can give you a kick like that physically.
I think the padding actually probably dampens it a little bit. That solid brick wall can be kind of a big-time bumper, but most of that back wall is covered in those barriers, so we don't see it kick off a ton.
We saw in the FAMU-Bama State game a ball get to the backstop and somebody think about coming home from third, stop and went back to the ball, ricocheted right back to the catcher.
We've seen that happen a couple times throughout this tournament, not necessarily in our games yet, but it's just such a far difference from what we've seen at the Jack, or if it's back at that backstop, forget about it.
That backstop feels like a million miles away at the Jack, where here at Rush Chandler it feels like it's right on top of you. Count is 1-1 on Escobar. Now the go-ahead run at third with one down in the eighth. Martinez kicks and deals. Escobar chops it to third. Moya comes home and the ball gets through into left field. There's a base hit and an RBI for Escobar. He comes through again with another RBI, and the Wildcats lead this one 4-3.
They'll dance it out in the dugout down there. I mean, what more can you say about Irvin Escobar? Every time he comes up, I'm surprised we didn't see maybe a chance to intentionally walk the guy. He's been that unbelievable at the plate, and he's not doing too much. Singles over the infield, bouncing balls through the infield. He has some doubles. He's been unreal.
So they played the suicide squeeze bunt. The third baseman was way in, and he just hit it to the left-hand side other way, and the shortstop couldn't get to it. Here's Colton Olesen. First pitch. It's a balk. And on to second goes Escobar.
Seen a couple balks in this tournament so far.
None crazier than the one that Highland Hall had a sac fly. They called the balk, scored the run. Another runner advanced to third and hit another sac fly, so we had two in the same at-bat.
I feel like that was the first time we've actually nailed that it was a balk right off the rip.
And I think that's it for Martinez, as out comes the Grambling State head coach, Davin Pierre, in his 13th season at Grambling State, his second as the head coach of the Tigers. He's been an assistant coach since 2010. And in that 2007 season, his first as an assistant, led the Tigers to their first conference title since 1985. This is a program that's been down for a long time, but this season maybe making a stand to try and come back into relevance in the SWAC. But right now, the Wildcats have Grambling State on life support, trying to force a tiebreaker game, up 4-3, 1 out in the 8th and a runner on second.
The Wildcats have had to come up against a lot of these historic SWAC programs in this little run here. We saw them send Southern packing. Jackson State won in recent years. It's had a ton of success. Sent them home. Now looking at Grambling State, another historic program. Wildcats are not fazed by the moment, not fazed by the team on the other side of the dugout.
I haven't caught a number. I think this is 12 pitching now. That would be Philip Bryant. I'll write him in my scorecard and then give you his numbers. Bryant is 3-2 in 18 appearances, with an 8.55 ERA. In 20 innings pitched, he's allowed 21 runs on 26 hits. Striking out 24 and walking 10. He's allowed 3 home runs, no triples, 8 doubles. And batters are batting .341 against him. And those numbers don't really sound too positive if you're Grambling State, but you're maybe hoping that you can kind of capture the magic that Bethune-Cookman has had out of the back end of their bullpen this tournament, and maybe somebody who hasn't shown up all year gives you a big performance. We know that Grambling State can hit the ball. We know they can run hard. I wouldn't be shocked if they get more than 3 runs today, and if 4 is not enough for the Wildcats to win this one.
Said it before, some of these offensive outbursts, 5 has been the magic number for the Wildcats. At the very least in the regular season, got at the very least a split record, and anytime they scored more than that.
First pitch to Colton Olison, breaking ball in the dirt from Bryant. I mean, the magic number in this tournament's been 10. They've won 10-6 and 12-11 in the 2 games they have been victorious in. The 1 game they lost was 4-2.
Figures as soon as we track down that stat, it's become completely meaningless.
That's how it goes. Here's the 1-0 to Olison. Big looping breaking ball inside, 2-0. The third baseman, Vargas, put his hands up in the air and looked at the home plate umpire like, it looked good to me.
Don't see that one very often.
But the count is 2-0. Bryant winds and fires. Upstairs, almost hit Olison in the face, 3-0.
Now we shift back into how many times have we said it? I'm not swinging here. Another guy, we saw it in the last game against Southern, showing he's not really ready for the moment right off the bat. Take advantage.
The 3-0, right down the middle, strike 1. Philip Bryant is a redshirt senior from Little Rock, Arkansas, transferred from Arkansas State. And he's behind at the count, 3-1 to Olison. He deals. Upstairs, ball 4, and Olison is on for the first time today. First and second now with 1 man out, and here's Jeremy Garcia.
Olison, another guy who finished the regular season with more walks than he did strikeouts. Some patience, and now Garcia, guys would swing the bat so well. The Wildcats would love some big-time insurance, maybe get Darius York some cushion and maybe see how deep in the game he can go.
Here's the first pitch to Garcia, low ball 1. I was kind of thinking as Garcia walked to the plate, if he wasn't so spectacular on defense, do you pinch hit him here and maybe try and push a couple of runs across that way and work it out who plays shortstop? But they're not going to do that. Garcia swings and misses at a fastball, 1-1.
If you do that, Mike, you run the risk of having to move Tuero over into that shortstop spot, probably Brian Perez into third, and we've kind of seen it in that last series against Jackson State of the regular season. Things went a little haywire when the defensive alignment was messed up.
The 1-1, swing and a miss at a fastball low, 1-2. You can tell Garcia really wants this one. Luis Tuero waits on deck, and he would much rather have either the bases loaded or 2 on with 1 out than 2 on with 2 outs to work with. Philip Bryant, the right-handed pitcher. Checks the runner at second. Now comes home with it. Hit off the end of the bat. Count holds 1-2. Wherever you are listening from, be it just tonight, just this tournament, or all season long, we appreciate you tuning in to BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. Wildcats trying to make this not our last broadcast of the season. Ball in the dirt on a breaking ball, 2-2. Skipped away from Murphy for a moment, but it was right back out in front of the plate so nobody could advance. Garcia has grounded out in the second, flied out in the fourth, and been walked in the sixth. In a huge spot here, 2 on, 1 out. The righty Bryant kicks and fires. Inside, the ball gets away. It kicks to the backstop, and the runners will advance to second and third, and the count goes full.
Teams ought to know by now not to put the Wildcats in these kind of positions. Now with just the 1 out and 2 runners in scoring position, Grambling State could slowly see this one slip away.
That's the 3rd runner's advance on a wild pitch for the Wildcats in the game. We saw Boris Pena advance on 2 straight wild pitches back in the 5th. Now, second and third, 1 out for Garcia. The payoff pitch from Bryant. Ball 4! Bases juiced in the top of the order coming up. 2 straight walks from Bryant after he's entered the game.
We saw the same thing in the Southern game earlier. We saw, I forget the reliever's name off the top of my head who came in.
I'll find it. It was Lasigne.
Came in right off the rip and couldn't throw strikes, and the Wildcats jumped right on it, put the game out of reach.
And once again, we've got relievers warming up in the Grambling State bullpen. This kind of reminds me of a game we had last year at Bethune Point with Mississippi Valley State, where the Wildcats were on the wrong end of one. They just could not get anybody to throw strikes. They walked like 12 batters in that game, and they got run-ruled because of it.
They got run-ruled with 2 outs late in the game by Mississippi Valley State. Mike was on PA for that game. Some of the weird setup down at Bethune Point, but it is getting ugly, and it's getting ugly quickly.
So Jonathan Hernandez is talking to the home plate umpire. I'm not sure what about. It was a very short conversation, and now he'll walk back to the dugout. But going back to what you said, I will hold that thought because Garcia steps back in, and we're going to play on. Maybe we'll come back to it later. Tuero stands in. Base is juiced. 1 out here in the 8th. Swings and fouls it right off his foot. It hit something. It hit the catcher's foot, it looks like, because Murphy is the one shaking it out. Back to what you said about the Birmingham Barons Stadium last year. Even though there's maybe only 150, 200 people in the ballpark right now, it feels like an energetic atmosphere. There's players yelling. There's fans yelling at players and at the umpire, and it feels like everybody's close in right on the field. And it's a great atmosphere here. I can't imagine this place full. I told that to you and Brian earlier today.
It's been a good crowd. Some of these SWAC schools travel well.
The 0-1, Tuero went for the moon and missed on a breaking ball inside 0-2. That's not often you see a swing like that from Luis. He's usually more calm at the plate than that. Maybe the moment getting to him. We'll see. The count 0-2. Bryant deals. Swing. Grounded to second. This could be 2. On to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time, and the ball gets away. Escobar scores.
There's a good break for the Wildcats there. That ball made it in time, but the first baseman down there had to make a stretch. It was a little bit of a wide throw from Guichard. Walker has to try to go in the dirt for it, and foot comes off the bag, and the ball comes out.
The head coach for Grambling, Davin Pierre, is coming out. I'm not sure if that's to argue or to talk to his pitcher.
It initially looked like it'd be a mound visit, but then he cut over and started talking to the home plate official. I'm not sure what the argument would be. They're going to talk about it.
So I think his argument is the ball was in and out of the glove of Buffer at first base. I think his argument is that Tuero should be out at first because there was contact with the bag while the ball was in the glove. And then it fell out after sufficient contact had been made, and they're going to go review it.
I don't know. We'll pull up the stream now to try to see what we can see, but that doesn't.
So I won't fill in my scorecard just yet. Well, hold on. If he's out, does the run still score? No.
No, because that would be the third out of the inning.
So this is a huge review. As it stands, Tuero reaches on a fielder's choice. Garcia is out 6-4. And Escobar would score from third on the RBI by Tuero. The ball clearly beats Tuero to the bag. It's not in the glove at that freeze frame.
I think, Mike, this is going to be not enough evidence to overturn again.
Because
you can't tell from this angle if his foot's on the bag.
Bufford sprawled to try and make that play. Oh, the ball never went in his glove all the way.
The ball was
bounced
never
off
in his
glove. They can't call this out because the ball never touched the inside of the glove of Bufford.
And see, that's how I kind of think it looked in real time. I understand here in the 8th inning it's probably worth a challenge just because we're getting towards the end and we haven't used one yet. But I don't think in real time it really looked that close either. I think that one's pretty conclusive. We should see the crew come back out at any second.
While we wait for them, come be a part of BCU Athletics and support the Cat Eye Network. If you or your business is interested in partnering with us here on the Cat Eye Network, you can reach out to the Wildcats Athletic Communications Department at bcusportsinfo@cookman.edu. That's bcusportsinfo@cookman.edu, and your business could be on air with the Wildcats. And why wouldn't you want to have your business sponsor the Cat Eye Network? We've got games like this coming at you all season long. We start with football in August, 99 days.
99 days.
99 bottles of football on the wall.
And, of course, when we're back at the Jack, traditionally, and then hopefully next year we'll ramp it up a little bit, we'll have video accompanying everything. But with the SWAC handling business here at this tournament, we're relegated to the radio booth.
And then, of course, we're trying to take the Cat Eye Network on the road more next year for football, basketball, baseball. We'll be doing radio more and more on both the Cat Eye Network and also 1380 WELE. If the Wildcats do hang on and get a replay against Grambling tomorrow, you will be able to hear that game on 1380 WELE around town in Daytona Beach, as well as here on the Cat Eye Network with Bryce and I. Here come the umpires back to the field. He is out at second and safe at first. So, okay, that's exactly what we thought was going to happen. So, I was a little confused because the home plate umpire, Kevin Bradley, signaled out first.
Yeah.
But he pointed to second, which was the out we thought had happened because Garcia got out at the start of the try to turn a double play. Now the coach for Grambling, Pierre, is out talking to the officials. So the play will stand. Tuero reaches on a fielder's choice and gets an RBI that scores Escobar from third. Olesen moves to third. Garcia out 6-4. So now the Wildcats have runners on the corners and 2 down. Garrett Chun will be the batter looking for something tonight. He's 0 for 4.
And we watched the replay, Mike. There has to be some element of this we haven't looked at as far as what the argument here is. There's no way.
Maybe interference at second base?
That has to be my guess is a runner or some iteration of the play that with the runner to the second base.
We looked at exactly what the umpires looked at on the replay. They didn't check second base at all.
Yeah.
All they looked at was first.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Coach Pierre is arguing about. Why didn't you check second base for interference?
If that's his argument, I don't understand the continued kind of push for it. That really wasn't a tough play to call.
Here's Garrett Chun. Runners on the corners. Wildcats with a 5-3 advantage here in the 8th. And now 6 outs away on the defensive side from forcing a replay with Grambling. First pitch to Chun, upstairs, ball 1. Because Bryant has walked 2 batters, I would be very conservative right here if I'm Garrett Chun, especially since he's 0 for 4. But he has put the ball in play every time. 3 flyouts and a ground out. Breaking ball catches the outside corner, almost Ephus style, really high curveball. And it's 1-1. That ground out to the pitcher was a sacrifice bunt for Chun. Bryant deals the 1-1 upstairs. Almost looked like that was a pitch out trying to catch Tuero stealing. Although Tuero not the fastest guy in the world. He can haul it if necessary, but he's not going to be a guy to steal with 2 outs. He's not a Malik Stevens or a Highland Hall. Now the 2-1. Down the middle. Strike 2.
I think that Brian knows how conservative the Wildcats are trying to be, so tries to catch Chun waiting on the ball there. Pumps one down the middle.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 on base, Wildcats up by 2. Breaking ball, outside, the count runs full. The temperature and the tension rises at Russ Chandler Stadium. Bryant. The full count delivery. Ball 4, bases juiced again. 3 walks out of 4 batters faced for Bryant.
Wildcats. Again, we saw this in the Jackson State series and we saw it against Southern, but reverse, the Wildcats were the victim of just every inning tonight has been a grind. If you're Grambling State, the Wildcats have not done their traditional, what we've seen, a 10-pitch inning, a 7-pitch inning. It's been all putting pressure on all night long.
And for the first time really this tournament, it's the Wildcat fans that are making all the noise down in front of us to our left. Here's Highland Hall with the bases juiced and 2 down. First pitch to him, in on the hands, ball 1. Hall has singled in the first, flied out to left in the third, grounded to third in the 5th, and flied out to center in the 7th. And that fly out to 7th was the ridiculous catch by Burrell to rob Highland, potentially of a triple, because you know how fast he is. Pitch. Fouled it away, 1-1. Reached down for one that was low and outside. It probably was still in the zone, so we had to swing at it. Tournament on the line for Bethune-Cookman, up by 2, could be more before Grambling State next bats in the bottom of the 8th. Bases loaded, 2 men out. The pitch. Swing and a miss from Hall. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That was a fastball that ran in on the hands.
Yeah, Hall's been kind of terrorized tonight on those same exact fastballs. We've seen him try to turn on a lot of them. They've either done weak foul balls or a lot of swings and misses. He's got to lay off of those pitches. They're clearly targeting him there on the inside.
The 1-2. Fouled it away. Off the end of the bat. Over the right field dugout. The SWAC logo painted in white behind home plate, illuminated by the night lights of Rush Chandler Stadium. Once again, bases loaded, 2 down. The 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Hall didn't swing at it. It was on the inside corner and it was close. But if you're Highland Hall, you've got to attack that pitch and protect the plates. Hall leaves the bases loaded, but the Wildcats get 2. 2 runs, 2 hits, and the bases left loaded. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Wildcats trying to hang on. Darius York comes back out to pitch, and we'll have it for you right here on the Cat Eye Network. To the bottom of the 8th we go. The Wildcats plated 2. And we go to the bottom. 5-3, Wildcats lead. Terry Burrell, the 9-hole hitter, leads it off for Grambling State. Darius York back in there. He came in at the beginning of the 7th and got the Tigers to go 1-2-3. Pitch outside, check swing, did he go? No. And it's ball 1. Luis Lipthrat was fantastic. 6 innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, and put the Wildcats in a position to win the ball game. Lazy swing and miss at a fastball low by Burrell. 1-1. York's 1-1, fouled straight back. 1-2. The Wildcats, well, it's just Luis Lipthrat, have 5 strikeouts tonight. Grambling State only has 2. York deals. Chop towards short. This is going to be a tough play. Garcia fires in time by half a step. Excellent charge by Garcia, and his momentum after he threw the ball carried him all the way past the mound, almost to the first baseline. That's how fast he was running.
And Jeremy Garcia is a guy who all year the bat had not been clicking for a big part of the year, but stayed in there, and we saw him earn those consistent starts because of that defense. This was a guy who wasn't your starter last year, wasn't even necessarily guaranteed the starting spot out of camp, but won it, and tonight it's been huge.
Brian Perez has replaced Luis Tuero at third base. First pitch, a strike on the outside corner to Tiger Borum. Borum 1 for 3 with a single in the fifth. Pitch, low, 1-1. And once again, this game has kind of felt a little more relaxed, a little more in control than the wild outings we've had the last 2 days. But I'll finish my thought after this. The 1-1, ball outside, 2-1. Now the pressure really ramps up, and we can start to see mistakes. We can start to see kind of the wildness that we've seen the rest of this tournament. And it's not just been our games, it's been all of them. Off the hands, fouled away, 2-2.
Every little mistake is magnified exponentially in games of this magnitude.
Borum, the left-hander, wearing number 2 in a 2-2 count. One down in the 8th. He digs his back heel in and takes the pitch from York the other way to left. Going back and making the catch is Pena, 2 steps from the track. That was a hard line drive, but it was hit basically right at him. He only had to back up 3 or 4 steps, 2 down.
Like you said, Mike, it's odd. This game has just been just as tense as some of these other contests, but for whatever reason, at least to me, it's kind of felt like the Wildcats have always been somewhat in control, but that's a credit to these guys on the mound and Darius York. What a start for the senior.
And Lipthrat as well. First pitch. Oh, he came upstairs and hit Kyle Walker in the shoulder. You know that wasn't intentional. He taps his chest immediately and says, that was my bad. But once again, a base runner with 2 outs. That has killed the Wildcats all tournament long.
Now the tying run coming to the plate. Just make sure it doesn't mount. It's
Trevor,
okay if it's a one-off.
Trevor Hatton is the batter. He struck out 3 times, 2 swinging, 1 looking, but of course that was all against Luis Lipthrat. Now against Darius York, a guy maybe with not as much nastiness on his breaking pitches, mostly a fastball guy. First pitch to him, upstairs and in again. Escobar calls for a new ball. And he's going to take this time to walk out towards the mound, maybe yell some words of encouragement to his senior pitcher. There is somebody warming up in the BCU bullpen, but he's just behind that concession stand, and we just can't see who it is. The 1-0. There's a strike. Fastball outside corner, 1-1. We were told by Coach Hernandez and by Nolan himself that Nolan Santos might be the closer tonight if it comes to that.
I jokingly asked him before the game. I'm sure he'd love to do it.
1-1. Swing and a hard hit ball, but foul down the first base line. That'll hit the trees. That'll make the road, not just the trees.
Gotta be careful driving around a baseball stadium. It's gonna be Santiago Gomez, the arm down in that BCU pen.
York ahead in the count, 1-2. But he misses his spot with the fastball outside, 2-2.
See if York decides to challenge the hitter here or maybe go away again and try to induce a swing and miss.
2-2, 2 out. The tying run at the plate in a 5-3 contest. York kicks and fires. Swing and a grounder towards short. It's picked. All long throw to first by Garcia. Unbelievable backhand play. Jeremy Garcia with 2 outstanding defensive plays in the inning, and we head to the 9th. Wildcats looking to add some insurance runs, up 5-3. You're listening to BCU Baseball on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the 9th inning. Wildcats with a 5-3 lead, looking to add some insurance runs. The leadoff man is Boris Pena after the Wildcats sent 8 to the plate in the 8th. Ground ball sharply hit to short, off the glove and into left field of Grichard. The first error of the game, and it's huge. Leadoff man aboard for BCU.
Talked about how magnified every little mistake gets in these tournaments. The Wildcats just have something crammed up their backside, a horseshoe. Everything has come up cats in
Malik
this game.
Stevens is going to pinch run.
Malik Stevens has been about as important of a pinch runner as you've ever seen. Every time he's been pinch run for, it's been massive. Having a guy like that off your bench is just an unreal advantage.
Here is Robert Moya. Moya, 2 for 3, 2 singles, a walk, and 2 runs scored tonight. And of course this afternoon, Moya, 2 runs scored, 2 walks, 2 hits. So he's mirrored his stat line from this afternoon.
See how much Malik Stevens rattles Bryant on the mound. He's a clear steal threat.
First pitch to Moya, inside ball 1. There are 2 yellow jerseys up and throwing in the Grambling State bullpen. I believe one of them is, no, that's Keanu Jacobs-Grichard that wears number 9. It can't be him. Throw over to first. Stevens slides back in safely. It is Dalen Ardoin, a sophomore from Mamou, Louisiana, warming up in the bullpen for Grambling State. Pitch from Bryant over the head of Moya to the backstop. Throw down to second. Stevens is there easily, and Moya, even though the ball didn't hit him, looks kind of shaken up. He kind of went down awkwardly trying to avoid it. That's a wild pitch that allows Stevens to advance.
Moya was down on his stomach for his life right there, shaking up a little bit. That ball was right at the cranium.
And that's about probably the fastest fastball that Bryant can throw, and there's no malice in that. He just missed his spot. Count 2-0 to Moya. Bryant from the stretch deals. In the dirt, 3-0. They have wanted no part of Robert Moya tonight, whether it's been Boykins, Martinez, or now Bryant.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't. He's been a hot bat this whole tournament. The 3-0. Upstairs, ball 4. Didn't miss by much, but Moya's on with his 5th walk of the day.
The guy who led the Wildcats in that category, Johnny Hernandez, is calling a play out there. I just saw him motion as Manny Soufrain walked to the plate.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a bunt here from Soufrain. With Stevens at third with 1 down, he scores on anything past the infield.
I've seen him bunt already today.
He bunted in the 8th, and that allowed Moya to advance and eventually score. First pitch, he will bunt, but the ball goes upstairs, and he pulls it back for ball 1. Soufrain today doubled in the 2nd, singled and scored in the 4th, grounded out in the 5th, sack bunted in the 8th.
You can hear that gravelly voice from the dugout. That's Dale Machad yelling for his Wildcats.
The 1-0 pulls it back again, and it's a strike. This has been the most energized I think I've seen the Wildcats dugout all season.
It's just unbelievable, the shift from that first game when everybody was kind of in a rut. Nothing really went across. The shift in luck, the shift in mentality, the shift in energy. This Wildcats team is a different one.
Throw back to second to try and keep Malik Stevens honest. And I got to back to mention on the wild pitch, it did come right back to Murphy off the backstop. So if that's not Malik Stevens, maybe somebody else in that situation is out. The 1-1. Finally bunting it, but foul is Soufrain, and it's 1-2. We have seen a couple of Wildcats and a couple of players overall in this tournament be aggressive and bunt with 2 strikes. Not sure we're going to see it here, but we shall see.
Garrett Chun's a guy who's had a tendency to do it. I think he's done it a couple times just in this tournament. Manny Soufrain, not a guy who's generally looking to bunt, and we'll see here if he swings away.
The 1-2. 2 on, nobody out, top of the 9th. He does square to bunt. He puts it down, straight back to the pitcher. It's going to go to first. Another sacrifice for Soufrain, 2 straight innings. He moves the runners over, 2nd and 3rd, 1 man down. And who's up? Irvin Escobar.
Do you think about an intentional walk here with 1 away?
Oh man, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but It's a conversation that's worthwhile, and you wouldn't have expected that to happen
with Irvin
before this
Escobar.
tournament, but
Second and third, one away. Wildcats up 5-3, top of the ninth, looking for insurance. Bryant's first pitch, swing and a miss. Escobar knows he's feeling it right now, and that pitch wasn't really great. It was down and away, but when you're hot, you got to swing the bat.
Looks like a beach ball to him out there.
Stevens at third, Moya at second, the 0-1. Hit high in the air. That's not going to leave the infield, unfortunately. It is going to be caught by the second baseman, Walker, and there's 2 outs. That's worst-case scenario right there for the Wildcats, because here comes Colton Olison, who's been about as cold as the bats get for BCU in this tournament.
I think if you're Olison here, you just try to stay patient and see what Bryant's going to give to you instead of trying to be overly aggressive and come at him.
Do you intentionally walk Olison here to put a guy on first base, and now anywhere is the final out of the inning? I've seen teams do this, especially in the major leagues.
I, again, don't think we'll see it because Garcia's been the better hitter.
First pitch to Olison. Swing and a high fly ball to right field, not deep. Moving in is Hatton, and he dropped it. He didn't make the play. He slid. He didn't make the play. Stevens scores. Moya scores, and it's 7-3. What a turn of events.
It's impossible to say what happened with Hatton on there. I guess he thought the ball was going to carry more as we hear Hail Wildcats ring from the BCU dugout. Everything just continues to come up Cats. Hatton had to make a long run, was all the way out, probably 6 feet from the warning track.
It's technically, because they didn't put an error on the board, it's a 2 RBI double for Colton Olison.
Just like that, the cold streak may be over, just maybe not in the way we thought.
Sometimes a little bit of luck is all you need, and the Grambling State defense, especially the outfield, has been so good. First pitch inside to Jeremy Garcia, ball 1. You don't expect them to make a play like that. That one was a dive from Hatton. He had it in his glove, and it just kind of rolled out when it hit the ground.
I think we'll wait for the pitch here.
The 1-0, inside 2-0.
I think it's kind of a mental error, if nothing else, which obviously you can't credit as an error. Hatton was already lined up way out there. He's still deep out there now, or at least as deep as it goes out in right field. But he didn't see it off the bat very well, so he didn't charge it initially and had to make that long run.
Swinging a foul ball off to the left from Garcia. 2-1 the count. That was again a hard hit over the bullpen down the left field line. If he straightens that out, that might be in the gap.
Just some kind of luck for this Wildcats team right now. It's unbelievable.
The pitch, fouled away again. Olison on second with 2 down. Bryant, who came in midway through the 8th, has already thrown 38 pitches. You said, Bryce, a grind. Every at-bat, every inning's been a grind for this Grambling State team. Going to third on the hit and run, ground ball foul. That's not a bad call. Olison is one of the speedier guys on the team. He's not a Hall or Stevens, but he can leg out a simple hit and run like that.
It's just funny, Mike. We've seen Southern and we've seen Jackson State, 2 just unbelievably gritty teams. Well, now that the Wildcats have kind of overcame both of them, they've taken that grittiness from those teams and they're just pouring it on. It's unbelievable.
7-3 our score right now. Again, you never know what's going to happen in the 9th. We saw it in the last game between FAMU and Alabama State. Here's the 2-2 upstairs, 3-2. The count runs full. Alabama State was down 8-3. They lost 8-6 in the 9th, and they left the bases loaded in the 9th too.
Unbelievable end to that game. Something that I've kind of been harping on just about all season. I know I've mentioned with you maybe once a weekend, Mike, when we've seen pitch clock violations.
We'll finish the story after the 3-2. 2 down, runner on second. Bryant delivers. Hit down the left field line. It is foul.
Alabama State had runners on. I believe it was at least 2 runners on, if not the bases loaded.
It was the bases loaded.
And the FAMU relief pitcher fired in what was called strike 3. You thought it was off the plate.
It was a bad call off the plate.
But the official out at third base called everybody back in and said it was a pitch clock violation.
Here's the 3-2 once again to Garcia. Bryant kicks, deals. Breaking ball. It would have been ball 4, but it's a swing and a miss. Garcia strikes out. Only the 3rd strikeout for Grambling State pitching on the night. The Wildcats plate 2 more. It's a 4-run BCU lead headed to the 9th inning. It is Darius York to try and shut it down and send this to a winner-take-all game on Saturday when we come back. You won't want to miss this finish right here on the Cat Eye Network. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Darius York in for his 3rd inning of work out of the bullpen to try and shut it down. A 4-run lead for Bethune-Cookman as they try and force a winner-take-all game tomorrow afternoon. It is the big threat Keelan Mack who homered in the first to give Grambling a 2-0 lead. First pitch strike at the knees. After that, Mack grounded out twice on the infield, once to first and once to second. Hit hard in the gap, left side, but it's high enough that Pena makes the catch. One away.
Darius York has made a living tonight off of those fly balls. He's letting his outfield do it. It's a little scary of a way to live, but with the athleticism of this Wildcats outfield, it's a way you can get by.
Here is Cameron Bufford. First pitch, a strike on the outside corner. Bufford's error at first base as he couldn't squeeze a ball that would have ended the inning, allowed the Wildcats to play 2 runs in the 8th and take the lead. He's maybe trying to atone for that. Second pitch in on the hands, ball 1. Bufford tonight 0 for 3, grounded to second, grounded to short, popped out to center field. York, the biggest spot of his career, the 1-1 inside 2-1. He was one of those guys that was honored on senior day, along with Luis Whitlat.
Some guys don't want their career to end just yet.
The 2-1. High fly ball, center field. Racing in, Chun calls off Olison, makes the catch. 2 away in the 9th. The last batter for Grambling State potentially is Jose Vargas. Lined out to right field in the 2nd. That was the tremendous diving stop by Highland Hall. Flied out to center field in the 5th, and then grounded out to second in the 7th. Another guy 0 for 3. First pitch from York. Looked like he squared to bunt and pulled it back, and the ball was in the dirt. That was an odd little play right there. Bunting, but nobody on. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th.
Not going to get you very far.
Especially with Escobar behind the plate. Pitch from York. There's a strike down the middle. 1-1.
Darius York, the senior.
He doesn't want to go home. Wildcats infield plays deep. Hit off the end of the bat. Fair ball down the line. Goes to the corner. This could be a double. Here comes the throw. It's going to be close. He's safe at second. Sliding in with a double is Jose Vargas. And again, 2 out base runners for Grambling State. It's been their biggest threat all night. And the game continues. Here's Keanu Jacobs-Grichard. And the pressure is really off on Grambling State here because they know even if they don't complete the comeback, they've got 9 more innings to beat the Wildcats tomorrow.
Wildcats bullpen completely quiet. This is D. York's game.
Antoine Brown moving fielders around. Vargas shows steal. First pitch in upstairs to Guichard. 1-0. Is that Yohan Gonzalez running down there?
I don't think he'll be up and throwing. There's no bullpen catcher down there, but he's trotting down there.
Fastball down the middle, strike one. I think the Grambling State Tigers are doing exactly what BCU's done for most of the game. Just take till you get one, and then try and pick the pitcher apart.
Fortunately for BCU, the message has been for these guys to attack these hitters, and it's paid off tonight.
York deals upstairs, 2-1. The pitch, swing and a miss, got him with the breaking ball, and it's 2-2. The Tigers are down to their last strike, and the Wildcat fans behind the plate rise to their feet.
Oh, and the Wildcats dugout can feel it. They can taste it. They're ready to rush the field, rush their guy, Darius York.
York at the belt, winds and fires. Strike three! Swing and a miss! And this one belongs to the maroon and gold! In the words of the immortal Joe Buck, we will see you tomorrow night. The Wildcats have won back-to-back-to-back elimination games and force a winner-take-all game tomorrow with Grambling State.
Mike, we honored Darius York at Senior Day on Saturday against Jackson State. I want to read you, I'm the guy responsible for kind of writing up some of those Senior Day reads, some of those PA reads that we see. For each guy, give him some honoring. So some guys like Darius York who haven't seen as much time, they're a little bit shorter. Guy that's appeared in 25 games out of the bullpen in his time with BCU, pitched 32 innings, struck out 19. Some of the stats I grabbed for him from this season, he pitched at Stetson, allowed in 3.1 innings, allowed no runs, struck out 5, scoreless outings against Florida and FIU. Those are both one-inning affairs, but that's it. But that's what Jonathan Hernandez told us about Yoancel Diaz, and then again with Darius York. That's the kind of guy that you would least expect to step up. We are at the bare end of this bullpen as Jonathan Hernandez is firing up the Wildcats crowd. It has been unbelievable. Lewis Lipthrat turns back the clock. Looks like the first team all-SWAC guy we saw before the year. Looks like who should have maybe been the SWAC pitcher of the year last year. It's unbelievable what these Wildcats have done in these last 3 games.
Stepping up in crunch time, Luis Lipthrat and Yoancel Diaz both being interviewed on the TV broadcast, as rightly they should. The Hail Wildcats chant rings around Ross Chandler Stadium again. For Luis Lipthrat, 6 innings, 3 runs on 5 hits, struck out 5. Darius York, 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, no runs scored. The pitching performance of his life, and the Wildcats live to see another day. Here's your final line score for Grambling State. 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error. They left 3 on base. The Wildcats, 7 runs on 11 hits, no errors. They left 11 on base tonight. It could have been a lot worse.
Wildcats have taken everything that's been a negative thus far this season early in the tournament. They flipped it on its head. This is a completely different team than we saw in Game 1 against Southern.
Darius York, deservingly so, gets the win. The loss goes to Javier Martinez. He was probably the best of the 3 Grambling pitchers we saw tonight. Just kind of fell apart late, and then Bryant didn't do him any favors. I think 1 or 2 of the runs that Bryant lit in were actually attributed to Martinez because they were on base when he came in. Once again, your final score from McNeese Baseball Park at Rush Chandler Stadium. The Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 7, 32 wins on the year and counting for Cookman. Grambling State 3, they dropped to 29 and 25, and we will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time our game is. It 3?
I believe it's a 3 p.m. start. Obviously, stay tuned to.
We just had it confirmed by the SWAC official. It is 3 p.m. the start. You can catch that game here on the Cat Eye Network on YouTube or on 1380 WELE, the Cats, if you are cruising around Daytona Beach. That'll do it for us from tonight. We need to go and get some dinner and some well-deserved sleep, as do the rest of the team. For Bryce, Brian, and our entire Cat Eye Network crew here in Atlanta. My name is Michael Torillo saying so long, and we'll see you tomorrow for one more game.